Alright, so. Why is my cursor stuck? Alright, we're off to a good start. I don't know why my right click was held down. Anyways, Astroneer. So you may notice I'm standing on something here. I've been like accumulating a laundry list of bugs that I want to report to the devs of this video game, and this is just one of the many. We're not going to be doing that on stream, but I just want to point out that I have like 7 or 8 like distinct bugs that have happened during this stream that legitimately were causing problems in one way or another, and I might get off my ass at some point and actually report them to see if the devs will ever do something. What are you looking at? I am standing on a particle emitter. Isn't it great? It has solid collision. It's a little sphere. You can kind of see the character like walk over the top of it like this. It's a cute little spherical particle emitter. It's about 1 tile in size, and for some fucking reason it has solid collision. And it's emitting those dust clouds that you see there. Like the big brown ones, not like the gusts of wind. This is video games. And I've been running into this with rovers and like trying to place boxes on it and shit. And I found it a couple streams ago, and then I went and located it again and marked it out with this beacon. But yeah, devs, please fix. There's another one down in the basement that I might find again at some point, but it's a little harder to bump into it. But there is another particle emitter down there that also has solid collision. And I suspect there's one up here where the rocket is as well. I think all of these dust emitters like have solid collision. I just don't really know where this one is. And I don't want to spend all day looking for it. So if I don't bump into it here, I'm just going to give up on that. Nah, I don't know where it is. But yeah, there you go. Video games. Alright, so what are we doing here? I was going to hop off the rocket, and I forgot to do that off stream. That doesn't need fuel. Okay, so anyways, let me get up my notes to see what it was that we were doing last time so I could fill people in and fill myself in on what it was that I was supposed to do today, because I wrote all this down and then immediately forgot what it was that I wanted to do. Alright, so what I did off stream. There we go. It's like I'm just reading like just an index card for the essay I'm talking about in front of the class. What I did on my summer vacation. First, I cleaned up the smelter area. So now this is a little bit less shitty and cursed looking. Everything's all nicely aligned, like within reason. All these arms can access the same train there. Yada yada. It looks a little bit better. The hydrazine is still a mess. I need to figure out what to do with that. We might or might not do that on stream depending on what we get to. So second, on my summer vacation, I made this area bigger. So now, the wall was originally right about here, and now it goes all the way out into this area. And I connected it to this open space. This used to just be like a pit that had the graphite mine in it, but the graphite mine sucked ass, so I needed to make a better one anyways. So this is kind of neat, because it gives you a little idea of how everything's actually laid out. This is underneath all those storage canisters, which is going to be very important for what we're doing later with the chemistry labs. So I went in and did that. Which segues right into the next point. I finished the main storage. So like this, we basically had like half of this filled out. It was filled out all the way up to pretty much here, the zinc canister, and I just went and printed all of the remaining canisters, placed all of the remaining auto arms. So it is ready to sort everything that we were going to produce in this like factory processing base. It's just the factory part of it's not there yet. So main storage is good to go. And then the last notable thing that I did here, I'll hydrate in a second. The last notable thing that I did here is this is no longer a back and forth train, it is a loop now. So we have this very clean and elegantly, like, just meticulously crafted tunnel going through the floor. You honestly wouldn't even notice it was there if I hadn't pointed it out. And the train just loops all the way back down like this. It goes under, and then it reconnects to the path that we had originally. The reason I did this is because this is going to significantly improve the throughput of the train, since it was going back and forth originally. So it would go all the way up to the end of the main storage, which is kind of above where my cursor is, and then it had to double all the way back and go down here to get to this, and basically the train spent a lot of time in the middle of its transit, just doing fuck all. The other advantage that we have with the loop is that if this loop is big enough, I might be able to put a second train on it and have 2 of them on opposite sides of the loop, like going around it. So that would also improve the throughput of the system. Oh, that's cute. Hey look, our daily glitch is here. Our glitch exposition just arrived, folks. So I don't know if you saw the cursed storage sensor, but for some reason there has been a lot of that shit happening. I think it actually fixed itself when the train got all the way up to the top. But for some reason... Oh, never mind. Hold on. There it is. There's two of them now. I don't even know where the second one came from. I don't understand, like, what is going on with this video game that is causing this shit to happen. But there is a second storage sensor, like, floating in the air, attached to this train for some reason. See if I can get it to show up on screen again. Unless I'm crazy and it was a different train, but we all saw it. We know that there was a second one. I'm trying to find it now because I need to get rid of that. It's causing problems. There it is. It's under the train this time. So yeah, there's a lot of bugs in this video game, and I really do want to report them. It's not even, the target pin's not even connected. I wonder if that's the one that disappeared earlier when I was off stream and that stopped the Astroneer mine from working and I couldn't find it. And I think that was it right there. So the whole time it was under the ground. Don't worry, you'll get, let me go to the bottom. You'll get to see it when the train stops moving and the camera isn't constantly fighting me. Let me just go over here real quick. Just our fucking glitch of the day just rolled up. Ready and raring to go. Anyways, let me catch up on chat. Let's see. Okay, the Samsung thing. Hey Adam. I will hydrate now while we wait for this. And I think it must be under the ground then. Well, that explains why I didn't find it then. Let's wait for this train to leave while I hydrate and see if we could catch it and remove it. It's not plugged in, so it's not actually doing anything except agitating me, but let me see if I could snipe it on the way out. We're just waiting for this resource nugget to fill in right now. Be rad if I have something to use all this infrastructure on. I mean, I don't know at this point. I mean, I'm building it for the sake of building, and I have no idea what the payoff is going to be once it's all done. Agitating is an unforgivable crime. This is true. It applies to video games, not just goblins. And I'm going to remove the irritant when it presents itself again. But yeah, I think this is one of the ones where the storage sensor just straight up disappeared, like between save loads. Alright, and I aim. There we go, got it. Y'all thought I was gonna miss it. This is why I mean, I don't know what I am. I'm probably like a platinum in Overwatch. I don't know if we're ever going to have an Overwatch 2 stream, but I feel like it might happen at some point. Because every streamer has to do that. And I did play Overwatch 1, and I was not very good at it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I feel like not having fun for an entire stream, and then I'll go ahead and give that game a shot. Because so far I have not played it. It is apparently not very good. But maybe I could still like get some kicks out of it. But that's for another day. We're not doing that today. We're playing Astroneer, a different video game with different problems and no competitive mode. So I don't have to be nearly as salty about it as Overwatch. But anyways, we got the storage sensor. What am I going to do with this? I don't know. I'll put it over here, I think. So anyways, that was basically everything that I did off stream besides like just like I moved a couple things around. I like put stuff in silos, but mostly we finished the main storage. So all we have to do is set up a factory. Can I science in Overwatch 2? Technically, yes. They have like a workshop. You can like set up bots to like do certain actions, and you could definitely science. I don't know what I would science in Overwatch 2. I definitely wouldn't. That's the thing. It would not be my usual like streaming routine of like trying to dig into the internal mechanics of like this or that part of the game. It would probably just be me playing Overwatch 2 and being a mediocre, like, DPS, and then I would just switch to Mercy, because you don't have to aim with her. It creates salt. Look, that's some knackle. That's science right there, chat. You saw it. We could generate salt. I could show you how exactly, like, you synthesize salt. And it's by playing Overwatch. It's not chemistry, you just play Overwatch. That's where the salt comes from. It also works if you play like Fortnite or basically any competitive game. So, what we're actually going to do today, if I had like a soundboard, this would be where the rustling papers noise would be playing right now, but I don't have one, so use your imagination, chat. Alright, so we want to do the chemistry labs, maybe design proper storages for the hydrazine, and I have a couple more resources that I need to bring into the base. These are not listed in any particular order. But we have copper, tungsten, and then all the basic resources that I want, and only like one thing is actually being automatically brought to the base. Scientist character only Overwatch 2. I didn't think about that for a second. What, Moira? Torbjorn? I don't know, fucking... I don't even know. I'm sure I could go through the list and think of more. Oh, Sigma, yeah, there's a scientist. Never liked Sigma. So anyways, we have the, Winston Ligma. I love that guy. Hey, Q-Ball. So anyways, we have the aluminum automated. And that's the only one. You're surprised this isn't an Overwatch 2 stream. Look, it's probably coming, Captain. Just give it a bit. It'll probably happen. I want to bring copper as well. And then I don't have a good deposit of graphite, but that's going to be a very important one. Yeah, okay, May's a scientist. There we go. Everybody pitch in. I still don't know who the other ones are. I don't remember. I can't think of all of them. There's like 36 fucking heroes in that game. There's too many. Anyways, we want to bring compound, ammonium, clay. There's a really shitty resin deposit I've been getting out of the wall over there that I don't like. There's tungsten way over here on this cliffside. You can actually see the auto extractor where the cursor is. Speaking of where the cursor is, that looks like dog shit. Let's up the graphics. And where is... Am I stupid? Where is... Well, I mean, I am. There we go. High quality terrain. Alright, we'll do that until my frame rate starts to drop, and then we'll turn it off. My frame rate's already dropping. I might have to turn it off. Well, we'll see if that becomes a problem. Anna's not a scientist, though. Right? There's no way she's a scientist. She was just an assassin. Look, I don't know why we're talking about Overwatch character lore right now, but you know, I don't have anything better to discuss. Anyways, I need to get a clay deposit. We need quartz is another one that we're having. Torb is more of an engineer. I mean, there's overlap between the two fields. I think he did design stuff like the Omnics or some shit. I think that qualifies as science. And I'm trying to think of what I want to do here first. I think let's start with the chemistry stuff first, and then we'll kind of like peel off, do some more rail design, get some more resources, and then go back to working on chemistry labs. Aren't we all scientists, just not good ones? I disagree. There are a lot of people that are not scientists in any aspect of their lives. So I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that opinion. Alright, so let's take our funny... Oh my god, I've never accidentally picked this up. This is the medium storage that has all the, like, repeaters on it. And when you pick it up, it folds into this state. And it just grew wings. Like, a really lumpy, lopsided wings. I've never actually made that mistake somehow. I wasn't expecting it to do that. You have a BS. Yeah, you have a BS in BS. Am I right? It's not even funny. I also have a BS. I can't even make that joke. I mean, I can, but it applies to me too, so you can also point and laugh at me. Toxic streamer, you know it. Nothing has changed. The same toxic streamer that you all know and maybe love. I'm not going to fill that one in for you, but you definitely know me. Alright, so what we're trying to do right now is very similar to what we did with the furnace array, which is I have materials up here. All this stuff on the left side, so I basically put where the screen cutoff is. These are all of like the kind of basic tier 1 and tier 2 materials. Tier 1 being stuff you don't have to process at all, and then tier 2 being stuff you have to smelt. So we have chemistry lab recipes, which I'm just making this shit up, but basically this is tier 3, is these 4 right here. They don't require any atmospheric gases. And then when you move over here, these are the tier 4 materials essentially. And then the 2 on the end are like scrap related, so they kind of don't fall into that category. I don't know what the devs actually like categorize this stuff as, but what we're trying to do right now is make these 4 right here. So these will be the easy ones. I just need to take input materials from the left side, put them in chemistry labs, and then send them back into the storage loop. So conveniently, I made a lot of chemistry labs earlier. In fact, I made all of the chemistry labs, but for now we only need a few of them. Nonetheless, I'll go ahead and bring all this crap downstairs. And hopefully you won't have to watch me print a chemistry lab ever again during this stream. See how that goes. So I'm just going to drop these down. And then the other funny object that we're going to use here is this thing. Because this game, for some fucking reason, doesn't have, like, measuring sticks or, like, angles or any other kind of tool that you could work with here. So basically, if you want to measure something that's precise, you gotta work with the materials that the game gives you. And in this case, I need to figure out where those little storage racks are. And we're going to do that through the fun trial and error process of basically, like, poking a hole through the floor and or attempting to align stuff that sticks into the ground and find it. So what I'm looking for is the top of that weird looking... There it is, okay. I'm looking for the top of this thing. We need to move it about 6 units up this way. And that should get us under this. I am going to actually poke a hole in the floor as well, just for my own convenience, so that I can travel through this. But I don't want to dig a hole everywhere if I don't need to. We're going to do a design that's slightly different than the ones that I made over here. So like, in order to get these materials in the back, these smelting materials, down into the base, I used auto arms that were arranged like this. And I'm going to do a slightly different design for this one, just for the hell of it, where I don't have these arms rotated 90 degrees. Nice haze. Where I don't have them rotated 90 degrees for no reason other than because I feel like it. Got to keep that save spell. Now this area is already scuffed. Like, it doesn't really matter what I do here. The save file size ain't going to go back down. Like, the way this works, I think this is a negligible increase in the save file size because this is already on disk, like whatever I have here. And I don't know how the game compresses this stuff other than apparently not very well, because despite the fact that all I've done is flatten this base and basically leave an empty void here, my save file size keeps going up. So what are you going to do? So as usual, I forgot to print something before the stream because I'm a dumbass, so we're going to make a couple of these right now. These print really fast. We need tall platforms. So I'll just print a couple of these, and I'll make a few more of them like while I'm down there, I think. I'll just prep one more to get started. We just need 2 to start off with. Maybe 3. And whatever, we'll start with 2. Alright, so I've explained this a little bit in the past before, but these auto arms have really janky ranges, like as far as the height that they can reach to. So they can actually grab stuff through the floor, like way above where the visual indicator is for the auto arms, and we're going to abuse the shit out of that. So the first thing we want to make is rubber and plastic. I'll probably design both of these in parallel because they're going to be side by side, and I need to make sure the arms can reach one and not the other. So to make rubber, you need resin and organic, and to make plastic, you need compound and carbon. So I need to be setting up a bunch of this stuff over here. So let me shimmy my little alignment pole, like over to the right. I apparently accidentally smoothed out a bit of the floor here. Keep that nice and flat, keep that pretty. Alright, so based on where this hole is, let me align myself. I'm just guessing we need it to be roughly, I don't know, right over there. Let's see how close we got that one. I think I overshot it a little bit. So go back up through the glory hole. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Alright, if I can get it under the compound, or if I can get it under the... Actually, let's get it under the resin, I think is what we want to aim for here. As far as I'm aware, there's no way to poke something down through the floor with any, like, degree of consistency. So it's a little bit trial and error the way I'm doing this, because I don't want to dig more holes in the ground, but I'm guessing it's going to be right about there. Let me get my paint tool so I can start putting markings on the floor so that we don't have to do this every single time. We don't need this. I don't know why I had that on my tool. And this one, but come on game, put it in the slot. And then we want the paint that I usually use to mark stuff out. This is basically how I build on a grid in this game, is I just use the tiny little micro brush and draw little like indicators in the floor like this. What is this aligned to? Right there. And then I would center this, like pretty much this is like right on top of the voxel grid. And if anybody shows up, by the way, and doesn't know how the fuck I got my base to look this neat, I can show it to you, but say something in chat because I've shown it like a million times, so I don't want to do it if nobody actually cares. But I'm open to explaining it. So what we wound up with here is I need to move this over exactly 2 units, and that'll put it aligned with the resin, and then I need to move it 3 units in this direction. And I think this is north. Alright, so we're going to move it north-left. 2 units to the left, 3 north. Why did I say it like that? Because I'm an idiot. So in order to do that, I'll just mark out a couple more spots on the funny grid. Well, these I just paint over these when I'm done here. Fitting that we're getting Minecraft music right now. Alright, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right there, and that we're gonna double check that, and if that's directly underneath the material that we want, then we're good to go, and we can move on to the next step, which is actually setting up the auto arms that are gonna pull those materials down. And there it is. The center of this bizarrely shaped thing is like right there where the pole kind of curves into the ground. So this is perfect. That's exactly where we wanted it. And I know that 3 units to the left is the compound, 3 to the right is the organic, and so on for every single material. Yeah, this is a texture pack that I'm using. It's kind of like a mod compilation with a texture pack. The texture pack just turns everything into flat colors. Honestly, it's not a very good texture pack. But I mean, this game already lags hard enough. I don't really need to make it worse. So anyways, let me grab one more of these tall platforms, because it should have finished printing like 4 hours ago. And 3 tall platforms should be enough to get us started. I'll grab the 4th one next time I run up here. Alright, so there is unfortunately no like particular magical solution to how to do this, at least not anything that I've discovered as far as, and I'm referring to like arranging all of these factories. You kind of just have to wing it. Everything requires different materials. This is not Factorio, in case anyone was wondering. So you just kind of have to wing it and figure out where to put stuff, get the auto arms to not interact with things they're not supposed to, and just hope for the best is really all you can do. So the way that I think I'm going to approach this is I probably want to bring these materials down. I could do it to 2 different directions if I wanted to. The materials are directly above me, and if I get an auto arm, I can kind of display what it is that I'm trying to do here. So let me print a couple more of these. These are actually just markers. I'm not going to have the tall platforms there, but essentially what we want to do is have an auto arm position like... How much room do I have over there? I have enough room. I'll flip this one around. So we want the auto arms to be positioned roughly like this. They're going to have filters on them, so it doesn't have to be ultra precise, but I just prefer if these things are lined up. It makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to have the arms positioned something like this. And directly above this is where the compound is, like this particular one. Now the arm can't reach that high. They reach about 10 tiles into the ceiling, but if I give the arm a booster seat by sticking it on top of this thing, it will actually be able to reach up through the ceiling and grab the compound above that like circle there. The circle there is actually like a much bigger cylindrical shape. And that's going to be the premise of how we bring these items down. We'll have an arm there. It'll grab the items. It'll place them on a tall storage behind it. And then if I go get a second arm, this arm will be able to reach the top of the tall storage and bring it down to the floor. So it's kind of a 2-step process to bring these materials down. And that's the alternative, again, to how I did it over here. It's more or less the same thing, I just don't have this gap in the floor. And the reason I didn't want to do the gap is because I don't want to like fall into that gap while I'm juggling items over there, trying to collect materials. So I figured keeping the floor solid would make it slightly easier. I could technically bury these auto arms in the terrain, and they would stay there, but if I ever needed to change them, I would just have to dig a hole in the floor every single time. And based on how often stuff breaks for no reason in this game, I guarantee I'm going to need to dig these out at some point and change them. So we're not going to make that mistake. But back here doesn't really matter, and it's convenient to have a floor hole that I can just jump into to get down here. So this is why we're going to need a lot of tall platforms, and I'm actually going to set something up to run in the background, because this is the thing I forgot to do off stream. I'm going to set up a printer for tall platforms, and we're going to come back, and there's going to be like 30 of them waiting for us. So what I need is a canister of ceramic. That's supposed to be filled in. Why is there aluminum in this? Oh my fucking god. Alright, we're going to have to... Something broke. I'm going to have to look into this in a moment. Let me pull these out. There's not supposed to be aluminum in the ceramic canister. Can you believe it, chat? Something is already broken. This arm can't even reach that. I hate this game. Alright, well, we don't have any ceramic, apparently, because that's probably the reason why that happened, so I will have to look into that later. For now, I need to start printing clay and get more ceramic. So never mind, we're not going to make the auto printer. Maybe getting clay will actually be one of the things we do on the side here. For now, let me print a couple more of these. Every single one of these materials is going to need 2 of these tall platforms. One for the arm, and then one to place the materials on. And of course, there are other buildings I could do this with. Like, there's a tall storage that would achieve roughly the same purpose, but I don't like the tall storage. It's weirdly shaped, so we're going to just keep using tall platforms for this. It'll just... I don't know, just make me happy. Because the other way that I could do it is I could have this thing here, like this, and this would be another viable way to shuttle these materials down. It technically doesn't require as many slots to fill in, so I don't know, maybe I'll change it to this layout at some point. But for now, we're going to stick with what I was planning to do. Not hard to swap them out in the future. Maybe I'll do that when I start printing these. Alright, so we got our 3 tall platforms. I'm going to need a couple more auto arms. And let me decide how I'm going to rotate these. I'm going to use the grid snapping shenanigans that I've been using, which is basically there's two angles that I could rotate this to really slowly where it'll start doing this. And what this means is that this thing is actually like rotationally aligned to one of the axes in the game engine. And that's a good thing because that means it is at a perfect angle for this auto arm to be pointing straight south, which is exactly what we want because these things need to be well aligned or you'll have incidents like the problem we're having with the aluminum there, where one of the arms is able to reach a canister that it shouldn't, and I need to check and see if something is misaligned up there. So anyways, the material that we want is right here where I'm hovering my cursor, except straight up. And I'm gonna actually, this will be easier I think if I mark the ceiling to do this, so that I can just see what I'm doing. So we know that it's a little bit to the side of this pole. I apologize for building on the ceiling live on stream because it's awful in this game. This is the camera. Chat, there's no first-person camera in this game. I complain about the camera at least 16 times per Astroneer stream, and it's because it's terrible, and I want them to fix it. But this point right here that I'm circling around, that is where the compound is, and we need the compound to make plastic. And then right next to it is the resin, which we'll use for rubber, and the other materials over to the right a bit further. We're going to need all four of them for what we're doing. But what this has allowed me to do is take this funny jittery pull, and pretty much I just need to make sure that the auto arm can grab the material I want. I have a little bit of flexibility for where it can grab from and where it can deposit to, but I do need to pay attention to the depositing area. I think I'm only going to pull the materials to the back, and the reason for that is that if I turn this auto arm around and put it over here instead, it's going to actually be able to drop materials up through the floor into like any vehicles or other storages I happen to have on the road above, because this is where the big like dark gray road is that I had up here. So it occurs to me, I'm glad I didn't make that mistake because I actually need to pull the materials in this direction to avoid having that happen. So we will be pulling all the materials down from here, and then I'll have to figure out how to move them around. If I need to, I can have another floor. I can have a third floor like down here. And I haven't really flattened this out properly. I don't know what height it's at. I would probably pull it up a little bit. But I could move the materials down another layer if I need to make this factory happen. So I leave that option available to myself. Now what we need to do here is probably make this as compact as possible, which means I want this arm to be as forward as I can get it while still being able to reach the materials up top. So what I'm going to actually do is try this. There we go. I want to actually rotate my grid a little bit. It'll just make it slightly easier to paint it later. And the game is absolutely not cooperating with where I'm trying to put these marks. I'm clicking for like one frame, and it's doing that. But you could fix that by just turning off the inhibitor mod and then being a dumbass. Don't turn off the inhibitor mod. Turn off the terrain analyzer. And then just repaint it. Painting in this game is a bit of a pain in the ass, but thankfully we haven't been doing too much art. It's mostly just to draw grids on the ground. Alright, so we got our jittery platform. What direction is the arrow facing? Does this one not have a little arrow indicator for what direction is defaulted to forward? Oh, I'll just do it the way I did these ones. Yeah, okay, it's in the same orientation. Alright, so what I want to do here is align it to this point. And let's see if this one works right here. So the auto arm, I could probably actually pull it forward a little bit more. Add a couple more grid markers. Let's try right here. Because even though the circle there is really small, it's because that's actually the bottom of a sphere that's just being cut off. The materials we want are right here. I could actually, I think, go forward one additional unit. And this is why I do a lot of this stuff off stream, by the way, because it's very slow and tedious, so I don't want you to have to watch me do all this setup. I just show like the creative process of figuring out how to do it, and then I spare you the misery of watching me do it 27 more times for the remaining storages, so you don't have to worry about me doing that. So what I've done here, by the way, is I'm holding right click with my cursor on that auto arm, and I'm going to go all the way around and check where it is on the surface. If I could hold spacebar hard enough to get this game to remember that I have a jetpack. So let's see what we got on the surface here. Okay, it doesn't show up, but like I was saying, the auto arm grab range is actually a capsule. It's a cylinder with a hemisphere on the top and bottom. And if I did this correctly, it should be grabbing from like roughly here. And the circular range, or the cylindrical range, should just barely extend over this compound. And the way we're going to test that is by getting a power source, just so I can do a little trial and error on this. So let me grab one of these little baby RTGs. Grab a filter material, which I'll grab a couple filter materials. We're going to want these for the other ones as well. Just drop this one down the glory hole and grab the last one we need for now, which is carbon. Why is it so hot in here? It was literally 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside last night. Okay. There we go. I had to take off my shirt again. That's right, folks. It's one of those streams. Love you, Arizona. Love your inconsistent weather. Alright, so we've got that there. That should be good enough. Let's go ahead and test that. I have compound. Filter item. Hello, Ted Cuddy. And I'll just go ahead and stick this one up here. Alright, so in order to power all this nonsense, we're just going to temporarily do this, turn the arm on how the run's going. Well, so far, there have only been like 2 bugs, and I've been streaming for a whole 36 minutes. And 2 bugs in 36 minutes is honestly pretty good for this game. Alright, so if we turn this on, let's see what it does. It is definitely able to reach the compound. Let me turn that off a little bit. Let me see if I could get away with moving it one more unit over. Just getting rid of those because the grid is going to be really weird otherwise. Couple more of those. Yep, whatever, that one doesn't matter. Alright, so let's see if I can get it all the way over here. I want to get this as compact as possible is what I'm trying to do. Because, I mean, it's a pain in the ass to dig down here, so I want to do that as little as possible. So let's turn the arm on again and see what it's capable of doing now. It looks like it can reach... Yeah, it looks like it could still reach these, so I think this is the spot where I'm going to put it. It can grab everything off of that storage, and it can place it on these platforms here. Now, I've been thinking about this more, and I'm actually wondering if maybe I should use a tall storage for this, and the reason... Why the hell's there organic on this? Whatever, the reason why I would do that is because I don't have to fill as many slots on this thing. And generally, just having fewer slots, fewer materials around just reduces the complexity of these kinds of builds. So, arrow's pointing in that direction. So the other thing I could do is this instead. Pretty much the way this arm is set up is it reaches really far up, but not very far down. So if I'm standing down here, it's not going to be able to deposit anything. I can actually demonstrate this. Alright, go ahead and turn it on again. It's not going to be able to do anything right now until I move up a bit, and then it can reach me. And that's the purpose of having this thing here. So I can give it access to these slots. I can fill any of these in with tethers that I don't want it to like occupy on its own. Just the tethers are basically just inert items that the game can't do anything with because none of my arms are going to have filters that allow them to pick up tethers. So what I will do to fill this in is turn off this arm and just put like 2 tethers on these slots here. Maybe I could actually fill this one in with a tether and then have the other one an open slot. So we basically would have 2 like slots here that can grab, that other arms can grab materials from. Hello, Jess. Jess, if you know how to add sets of emotes from 7TV, please fucking tell me, because I tried to figure it out. I went to your channel and saw your bun emote set and could not, for the life of me, figure out how to add that entire set to my channel without just copying all of them. But anyways, hello, Jess. And yes, I am streaming, if you could believe it. It happened. I finally streamed again. Alright, so anyways, what we're trying to do here is rotate this around. So I'm, once again, trying to get this as compact as possible. Actually, I don't want to rotate this one. Just by convention, I've been having these set up to have this arrow facing over to the west for no reason other than because I like consistency in my life. And I want to see how close I can get this while it's still giving it access to these 2 like diagonal slots on the bottom. Looks like that's good to go then. I don't think I can get it any closer, but I will go ahead and try it. We're going to have a lot of compound sitting on the floor down here by the time we're done with this. So let's try this spot. Right there. This is actually my ghost streaming. I mean, it's not Halloween anymore. I mean, are we really allowed to talk about ghosts anymore? It is Christmas time now. Oh my god, it can actually reach that. Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. I can actually see the ring. Alright, I highly doubt it can reach the one that's one slot closer, but I am going to try it. I could obviously place this like half a tile away, but that makes it much harder to eyeball this stuff, because there is no way to like automatically snap the grid in this game. Game... Come on, grab it. There we go. I don't know why the collision on that was so bad. It could... Oh my god, it could still reach that. I don't like that. I think that's going to be an issue where some of the arms are good enough to do that and some aren't. So we'll settle for this. This doesn't have to be the most compact contraption that anyone has ever seen. So we'll settle for that. Yeah, I'm not a ghost, by the way. Or if I am a ghost, I don't know how I'm interacting with this computer. I got a mouse and keyboard here. It requires like energy to push those buttons, and I don't think I'm a poltergeist. Maybe a poltergeist would be strong enough to play Astroneer. But I don't feel like that's what I am. I'm not prone to like throwing things around at random. I do throw runs, however, so maybe I'm technically a poltergeist with that technicality. I throw things online, but not generally in real life. I'm very bad at sports and other such physical activities. Or maybe I am the computer. Maybe it's one of those situations. Like the ghost like possessed the computer or something. I don't know, chat. Make your own lore. Or don't. I don't care. Just don't make it weird, alright? No fanfics. That's for the OnlyFans. Alright, so this I think will be... We don't even need this row, actually. I'm just trying to mark out the grid for a few more of these. Again, do not worry. We are not going to spend the whole stream doing this. Don't panic. We're going to do a few of these, just for 2 chemistry lab like recipes that are of this nature, and then I'll do the rest of them off stream because they will all look like exactly the same. Or what I might do off stream is set up the rest of these and then build the remaining chemistry labs, because that's more interesting than watching me paint on the ground for 4 hours. So what I'm trying to do here is get over to where the carbon is, and the carbon I think is roughly above where I am. I'll count it out before I like blindly stick more poles underneath it. But we're just trying to get out to where the carbon is, because that'll allow us to make the 2 chemistry lab recipes that I set aside for the start of the stream here. Devs, please add like a grid tool or a measuring stick or something to this game. My god, I would love you forever. I mean, I wouldn't love you forever. It'll cancel out like half of the camera jank if there was just a way to measure things properly in this game. Let's go ahead and rotate this. And then Cosine and Soviet, Winter, and Severin lived... Why is that part in caps? Lived happily ever after. That's a beautiful story, but I feel like the previous part of the story didn't exist. Like, what was leading up to that moment? You can't just start a story with "and they lived happily ever after" unless you're making a really, like, pretentious indie story or film or something. Where it's like, "and they lived happily ever after," but you're probably wondering how I got into this situation, and then you start the actual, like, that, come on, it's a trope. Don't do that, chat. You're better writers than that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Captain isn't. The rest of you might be. Alright, so anyways, I need more auto arms. Luckily, I did print these earlier, chat. You don't have to worry about watching me print auto arms. We have like 24 of them. Why is that one jiggling? What about you? I don't know. Adam, you weren't in the story. I don't know what to tell you, dude. I didn't write the story. I'm sorry. You didn't live happily ever after. It do be like that sometimes. Life's not fair. I have this one rotated wrong. There we go. And this one's actually pointing in the right way. It just has an item. Alright, so we have that. I'm going to need a few more of these. I unfortunately, again, need to make more tall storages, but this is roughly the pattern that I'm going to build down there. What I'm going to do now, while I get more tall storages, is also check on where the carbon is, because that's the one we need for plastic. And I'll read chat in a moment, because I'm terrible at reading chat for some reason. Grab this ceramic out of here. I'm gonna have to figure out why. I might figure this out on stream, actually. Basically, this canister should not be filling up with aluminum right now. It should be only ceramic, which means I scuffed the alignment of one of these arms here. Is able to reach the wrong canister, like one of these two. I'm assuming the aluminum arm is able to reach the top of this canister when it shouldn't. All I have to do is, like, just jostle things ever so slightly to fix that. Cosine Senpai Uwu fanfic. Please don't. Come on, I deserve better than this. Like, well, what if I guess I haven't streamed in a while. I don't know, maybe I deserve that. But don't do it, please don't. It's not worth it. What if I actually like it? That's the worst part, that's the thing I'm afraid of. I might actually like it if somebody did that. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to be that degenerate of a streamer. Why is this not autofilling? Oh, because I didn't set it to autofill. Alright, so anyways, I came up here to count these, so... Let's see, we got organic, then 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one after that is where the carbon is. So we're definitely going to first try this and not make a mistake, because we always first try things on this stream, and if we don't, we just call it a mulligan, and then the next one is the first try. So 1, 2, 3, 4 over from where the organic is. Now before I do that, let's make a couple more tall platforms and tall storages, which are items that I interchangeably mess up the names for. There we go, tall storage. The difference in this game is a platform is like seated to the ground and you can anchor it, and the storage just has multiple slots on it, but you can't anchor it to the floor. You just put it on a platform or a vehicle or a vehicle-shaped object. You get the point. I hope. Because if not, I don't know how to explain it any better than that. You'll occasionally hear me call platforms tables because I'm a dumbass, but that's what I'm talking about when I do that. And then I'm just slowly like making just enough ceramic to get by for this stream, and then off stream, if I don't get around to it during the stream, we'll have like a lot of ceramic, so we won't have to do this nonsense anymore. But right now we don't have that technology because I did not prepare properly. Alright, so let's drop all these down the glory hole. Oh, I have my inventory. Okay, we're good. Let's go. You don't get the point? I'm sorry. I'm about to tell you, dude. Maybe you might need to drop out of this class. Like, there's nothing more I could teach you. I'm a bad professor. Alright, did I go far enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 79. I need to do a few more of these. I have the wrong one selected. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the carbon should be right there. I'll double check it before I start building. I still don't entirely understand how the painting system works in this game. What is this song? This is... I'm just getting you the link. It's a Final Fantasy song, but I'll just get the link. Copy URL, there we are. Alright, so it's Final Fantasy Rods at Han Day. I've never played the game, but it is a good song. Here it is. I promise that's not a Rickroll. It's whatever the copy pasta was for the YouTube like embed that I have playing on my crusty ass playlist extension that I made. Which, by the way, I'm probably never going to release because it's horrible and I don't want to have to support it. I'm trying to get the rotation on this one correct. Someday I'll probably get a command that you can use to see what the song is that's playing, or heaven forbid, show it on my stream. But I have not unlocked that technology yet, and I'm too stubborn to use pre-existing technologies that have already solved that problem. Alright, so organic, quartz, something else, carbon. We should have it. And do this. There we go. Alright, then we need one of these. I need a medium storage, or medium platform, which we have plenty of. Again, I'm going to interchangeably screw these words up all stream, because that is just what I do. And this. I'm just kind of eyeballing this right now. I'll line these up properly once I've got them all in the correct spots. One there, and then there's a gap. These are just materials we're not currently using, is the reason why there's this big ass gap here. Alright, and we got that one. And then I need a few tethers, there they are. And again, the tethers are just to prevent the arms from putting stuff in the wrong slots.
Child gestation period.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for the sub. For one, what is this like a baby or something? Did we have a baby? Is that what this is? Are we gonna make this weird? Because like you made it weird by using that comment just because you saw the number 9 months. So is that what people call this? What's his name? Dude, I don't know. I didn't know we had a kid. Does that make me... I don't... Am I the dad? Is it... Oh, no. Am I that bad of a streamer? I'm the dad and I didn't even realize it? Is that what happened? How... I'm gonna stop now. That's it. That's the end of this conversation. I just made this extremely weird for no fucking reason. And I'm upset with myself now. Like, I'm laying it down way too hard. Like, from the get-go of the stream. Okay, bye. I need to get a proper power connection here. Soap King. His name is Soap. Yep, that kid's gonna have to live with that name for the rest of his life. Or at least until he can change it. Don't be one of those parents that gives your kid a meme name. I wouldn't want to be named Soap. What if I don't even like soap? Like, what if I just want to be a filthy scumbag? My parents named me Soap. Imagine, like, how that would just ruin my life. Alright, we got this all aligned. I should be good to go. Alright, I need to get power. Can this reach? It cannot. So let me just put a couple of the intervening ones in place, just for later. I'll fill out the rest of the stuff that we don't have yet when we need it. It's got King in it. Well, what is the middle name? King? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, what's the last name? I don't even know. I don't want to dox myself. I'm putting way too much thought into this. I said I was going to stop talking about this. This is weird. Like, this Twitch baby thing. It's probably not even an original joke. Like, how many streamers do this joke? Like, this bit. Oh, 9 months. So it looks like we had a Twitch baby. Am I right, chat member? Oh, this is strange. I feel uncomfortable doing this. Get that one there. I'm gonna need to connect this to the power grid real soon here, once I have to turn on more than one of these. Sounds like a villain origin story. I guess it could be. There's just a disgruntled kid named Soap that becomes like some kind of like cleaning themed villain. There's an idea for you, chat. You can make a new comic character or something for your like indie comics strip or whatever on the web. It's just a soap-themed villain that just cleans things, but things you don't want clean. I don't know. It's a terrible idea. Be creative. Maybe you'll come up with something better than I can. Let's get this over here. Alright, so if I didn't fuck this up, we should see carbon get picked up. Excellent. First try, let's go. Let's turn that off. I don't want more materials down here. Alright, so we have the materials necessary to create, not the Powerpuff Girls, to create plastic. Something much worse. So what I need to do down here is get 2 chemistry labs, and I'm more or less just going to be winging it on how I lay this stuff out, because I did not plan this out. That's what we're doing on stream. So I'm just going to just kind of improvise this as I go. I've had mixed results with trying to like use different types of platforms to do this, so this will be an opportunity to maybe come up with new strategies. At the bare minimum, these are going to need a large platform A, which will have room for the chemistry lab and nothing else. We're going to have one configured for rubber, and we're going to have one over here configured for plastic. And I need to somehow get the materials from up here into these chemistry labs. Some of the chemistry lab recipes use duplicate materials, so I would have like multiple auto Rs that needed access to these slots right here. Others are only used for one thing. You can check that in-game, you don't have to go to the wiki. I think this here should have it. Yeah, right here. Okay, so these are the 12 chemistry lab recipes. Now, the astute observer might have noticed that I only brought 11 chemistry labs, and that's because we have hydrazine already. Hydrazine is weird. It doesn't go in normal canisters, it doesn't follow the same rules, so we're going to pretend hydrazine doesn't exist right now. Even though it does, it's over there, like where I'm spinning my cursor. We're going to make the other 11 materials, because these all go into storage canisters, and they could follow the normal workflow. And the ones we're making right now are plastic and rubber. So we need carbon, compound, organic resin. What I'm checking for right now is what other materials are used multiple times. And it looks like carbon gets used for a couple other things. Resin gets used for something else, but I think compound is only used for plastic, and organic is only used for rubber. So we don't have to worry about the logistics of those 2 materials. I'll probably end up moving stuff around a lot while I'm designing this. Now, how do I want to do this? I could have... Let's see, there's a few ways I could do this. Let me go grab one of these platforms. I'm probably not going to use this weird wide boy, but we have a few of these that we can choose from. And let me just sort of think this through and decide what might be the best way to do it. These are the two platforms that I'm most likely going to be doing all of this with. There's a few advantages to using one or the other. One of the big advantages to using this particular platform here, besides being able to put two like labs or whatever on it potentially, which isn't what I want it for, is actually the fact that I could use an auto arm to grab materials off the output slot and have it aligned consistently. So I could stick an auto arm here pretty much, and I could have it grab anything from the output slot of this and put it somewhere else, and then I would put a couple of tethers in these two spots here to prevent the game from automatically placing materials on that. The other options is that I could do this instead, in which case I could sort of have a buffer of output materials here, which may or may not be advantageous. What that does allow me to do, I think, is detect with a storage sensor whether or not there's something waiting here, and then only turn this auto arm on if the storage sensor detects something. And then the other solution that we could use for this is to just stick it like that and just have an arm pointing at it. And this arm pretty much is just on at all times that we want plastic, because I have no way to detect whether or not there's an output material. And the reason why having auto arms turned on or off is important is not because of the power usage. I have like 700 units of power in this base. I'm never going to fucking run out. The reason why I don't want these arms on all the time is because they use CPU when they're just sitting there scanning for items that don't exist. And because if I happen to walk past one of these arms while it's holding something that I don't want in my backpack and it doesn't have a spot to output to, it's just going to drop the item in my backpack, which is infuriating, and I wish the devs would fix that. So there's only so much I could do to fix all those issues. I think what we're going to do for now... What do we want to do for now? The throughput rate of this isn't terribly important to me. Like, what'll happen here if I don't have any output slots is this will finish what it's doing. It won't have any output slots, so it won't be running for a second until the arm grabs the material off it, at which point it can start running again. And if we do the buffer solution, which I think is the one I'm going to go for, then I can grab a storage sensor, put it on this, and let's see, what is it detecting right now? Empty or not empty? Waiting for storage to stop. Okay, so it thinks the storage is empty right now. It's probably only detecting these 4 spots, because I don't think this chemistry lab counts as a resource for the purposes of this detection. So what I could do here is attach it like that. Set it to empty or not empty, and this arm will only turn on when there's something waiting to be removed from these spots. So let's go ahead and do it like that. So rubber's the first material, so let me just... Interesting, it actually detected that. I don't know. We'll find out if there's any issues with that. This will allow me to also buffer up to 4 output materials. If I don't want a large buffer, which I kind of don't, I can put tethers in some of these slots and just detect full or empty instead. So I have a few options here. So what we need is we need the compound and the carbon. And if in a perfect world, I would be able to use auto arms in a single cycle. Basically only a single auto arm per material, and pull the carbon and the compound all the way down into this chemistry lab in one shot. And there's a good chance I can actually do that if I line these up correctly. So let's grab a couple more arms. More medium platforms. You're going to be seeing a lot of these. Why is the game... There we go. I don't know why the game wanted to pick up a power sensor there. This is why I printed like a silo of auto arms in advance, and we're still going to run out at some point. Maybe not during the stream, but I will print more off stream if that comes up. Alright, so this is where I usually eyeball this stuff. This stuff is not going to be aligned to the grid unless I absolutely need it to be, because there's just like no point in trying to do that. So it'll be tedious, it won't help anything. The reason why we use grid alignment for these is because these silos are so tightly packed together in the storage system that I actually need these arms to be aligned correctly. They're going to start putting materials in the wrong spots. In fact, I did not test that. Before we go through the rest of this, I need to make sure this resin arm cannot place materials, yep, like that, in the wrong tall storage. I'm glad I remembered that. We do not want it to be able to do that because I cannot filter which materials go in these slots. And you can see the problem here. The resin arm is trying to place things on these tall storages to either side that are supposed to only be other materials. So let's very quickly fix that. Let's actually do the really compact version of this that I was going to not do earlier. Where I shove it in like that. If we have to, I can align these to half a unit. It's just, I have to eyeball it to do that. So if I move these all in, what this should do is make it a little harder for the resin arm to reach the two to either side. I'm waiting for my camera to stop moving there, is why I'm just like sitting there doing nothing. My snails are getting hungry. Oh no. There's gonna be a loud noise in a second. Let me turn this off and go get more snail food. By the way, if I hadn't turned off my portable oxygenator, this is the sound you would have been listening to. I'll turn that on for a second here and get away from the tethers. There we go. That sound. And the reason why that happens is because for some reason, having a portable oxygenator in your inventory prevents you from connecting to tether lines while it's turned on. So basically every frame, the oxygenator turns on, runs out of power, turns off, reconnects me to the system, and then the next frame it turns on again, gets 1 unit of power, disconnects me from the tether system, and turns off again. And it just does that literally like 60 times a second. Devs, please fix. That's 3 bugs so far. The bug bounty's up to 3 today. There's probably more that I haven't even pointed out yet. Like one of these, it was 4 bugs technically. One of these portable smelters is just bricked and doesn't do anything, but we haven't actually seen that happen. This is a game that works 90% of the time. Alright, so anyways, the whole point of what I just did here is I moved all these, and I want to see whether or not the resin arm can reach the two to the side. This is why I needed to make a bunch of these right next to each other to test this edge case. Like literally an edge case. Can the edge of this range reach the other ones? So it can hit these two. And it cannot hit the ones to the right or the left, which is exactly what we wanted here. Now the last question I have is, can I put a storage sensor on this tall storage? Because there's some jank with one of the tall buildings, and I don't remember which one it is. Waiting for storage to empty. Okay, it can detect this fine. So the last thing that we could do here, which technically I could actually... No, I can't slot this. I can't slot the sensor, so I'm just gonna stick it here for now. I'll move it later. Is I want full or not full to be the criteria, and we want to turn this arm off when it has nothing to do. So let me get it rotated the default way. I just have a consistent spot I like to place these things. Stop. Camera. I don't know why the camera just decided to move there for no reason. So let's get the pin just up on the top here. Why is the indicator not showing up? Game? Whatever, good enough. That's actually the right spot. Alright, so what that should do is this arm is only going to turn on when it needs to put something on that slot, and then it'll turn off again. Perfect. That is exactly what we want. I'll find a more consistent spot to put these sensors later. For now, I'm just going to like stick it up there. By the way, really surprised this isn't a Dwarf Game stream. We might do that today, depending on how I feel. Like, I like the update. It's actually a really cool update, so I might switch games after a few hours, but we're definitely going to play Astroneer for at least like 3 or 4 hours before we switch to, not Astroneer, switch to Deep Rock if we do it at all today. But that is something I'm going to do. If not today, probably next stream. I'm not going to say tomorrow, because hell if I know when I'm going to actually stream again, but next stream will probably have Deep Rock Galactic in it, because they did drop a pretty sick update. But for now, I needed to get to Astroneer because, I mean, I have people who are following, I think, for Astroneer specifically, and I also want to play Astroneer. Like, there's still a lot of stuff I have not done yet. I want to finish off the series, so to speak, so today's Astroneer. I'm trying to get these arms to rotate around so I can put this in the same spot on all of them. This is OCD hard at work. Oh my god, game camera, stop. There we go. Alright, so this one should be turned on. There we go. And we need 2 more of these, so I don't need the one on the organic just yet, so I'll just set this over here. And then we need to set up the carbon one. So I'll do that. I don't think I set this to the correct value. It needs to be set to full or not full. There we go. This one's already full or not full. I guess I must have been using it on something else, and that's full or not full. It depends on whether or not I just printed these. You know, I have a better idea. Why don't I just pull the arm? Actually, I can't do that. That won't even help. Oh, this one's actually in the right position anyways. So I get the last one set up. Oh, now I can see it. Turn that on, and it should fill this up and turn off on its own. And mushroom. Maybe we'll see a mushroom today. It's possible. I did the Elite Deep Dive off stream, so unfortunately there was a mushroom in the Elite Deep Dive, and I did ping it a few times. But we're not going to do that again on this stream, so we need to find another, like, just natural mushroom in one of the random levels if I do it today. But we will definitely try to find a mushroom. It's very important, especially given recent developments in the update. Now, I'll move the rest of those later. So I need to scooch this one in a little bit. There we go. Lock that down. These should all be good to go. Alright, so let's do that. And thankfully, the way I have these positioned, I'm not at risk of this thing putting crap in my backpack that I don't want it to, because it can't reach the floor. The only ones that would be a problem are these chemistry lab ones down here. Those ones would be able to put stuff in my backpack if they happen to be turned on. We can just kind of eyeball this. So that one's in a good spot. That one's in a good spot. I'm just going to sort of just wing it on how I plug these in. Again, I might shift some of this stuff around later, so it really doesn't matter how I organize it right now. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Both of these arms can reach the chemistry lab. This should be the... it was the plastic the whole time, chat. You saw it. It was plastic. So we have the plastic one. I was supposed to make the rubber first. It doesn't actually matter. I just was intending to do that. And I think... we don't have enough power to run this, so I need to get power over here. Let me go find some extenders. I say this every stream because it's a big fucking deal, but they made extenders not suck. Here they are. So you can actually use these now, and they won't drain your base's power. You just set them to networks mode. So we're going to grab power from over here and just bring it over to this area. Eventually, I'll probably have a rail system going over there to pick up the output products, but that's for a little bit later. We're going to basically take this rail and like have it do like an additional loop through this area to pick up output materials, but we haven't reached that point yet, so we're not worrying about that. For now, I will manually shuttle materials over to the train. So let's just get a few of these connected. And the secret to making these not drain the power in your base is to set them to networked mode instead of directional power. So I just held E on it. It's networked power. And now it won't drain the power in your base. It'll act like any other like platform or power connector object. Isn't that great? How long has this game been out? They finally did it, at least. I guess I can't complain too much. I like complaining. And you know what? As much as like I have analytical complaining in the channel description, but you know, we don't do complaining unless I think we have to. And for now, I'm just happy they finally went and did it. So now we have a proper power source here, not this shitty little RTG. We'll just leave it down here in case I need to bootstrap something that isn't close to the power grid. Now I should, in theory, be able to set this. This is already turned on, so I should be able to turn these arms on and just have everything kind of kick in and start running. Alright, so while that's going on, I need one more of these. Chemistry lab is up and running. I have this rotated in the worst imaginable way for what I'm doing right now. Alright, so you'll notice a problem here. The carbon can reach these here, which we don't want it to be able to do, so let me tweak it ever so slightly so it cannot reach those slots. It looks like the compound wasn't able to reach it, but I'll rotate that just a little more. Yep, it can grab carbon, it can output there. And then to deal with this, I think if I put these on the floor, the game will prioritize the one on the ground. Let me actually test that. Nope, it does not prioritize the one on the ground, so that's exciting. Let me turn this one off for a second so that I can flush the system. We'll turn it on in just a moment here. I'm just trying to flush the extra carbon out of the system. There we go. Okay. So we should be good to go now. We have automated plastic production. And then what I would want to do here is get it onto this train. We don't have the ability to do that easily right now, so what I'm going to do instead is head up here and grab just like a couple of storage silos for just like mixed materials, and occasionally I'll bring them upstairs and have the game like auto filter them for me. Well, not the game. I have my base auto-filter them. I need to stay on top of this and make sure we have enough clay for the rest of the stream. Grab that as well. I'm just making another tall silo. Again, it's not a storage canister because the canisters can only hold one material at a time, and I'm going to probably have a mix. Come on, hurry up. I don't know if I'm going to use these smelting furnaces. I might have to use these smelting furnaces because there's a bug with the portable smelters where they randomly stop working forever, as far as I could tell. And as usual, the bug is not fixed, so I might have to just bite the bullet and use the large smelters, which means we will have to redesign this layout here, and it won't be nearly as compact, but I can live with that as long as it consistently works after I fix it. Alright, so we're going to use this as the output. So I just drop a few of these here. And we would have an arm set up like this. This is the one that only turns on if there are actually items on this. And just drop them on the silo for now. We want that to only grab plastic. Just in case any other single item. Like for instance, if I didn't put this item filter on it, this dumb fucking auto arm would grab the storage sensor for some reason. And then it would turn itself off, probably, because I think the storage sensor might trigger. Or at the very least, it would break the whole system. Why is this not... It's not powered. When the question of why the arm is not doing anything comes up, it's usually because it's not powered. Alright, so there we go. That's the theoretical automated system for plastic and rubber. And this is going to look very similar for a lot of these materials. But they all do use different materials. So there's going to be some spaghetti here. This is spaghetti 2.0. I'm going to have to do a lot of weaving to get all these materials into the correct location because the order that they're set up here is just not going to be compatible with these chemistry labs. So I'm going to have to pull stuff from like all over the place to get it into the correct chemistry lab. And maybe there's like some ideal optimal way to plan all this stuff out, but I don't know what that ideal way to plan it out is. So instead we're just going to make do with what we got. And I should be able to get this to work eventually. I was able to do this in a solo save years ago, long before I was even a streamer. I'm sure I could do it again if I needed to. So the next one up is the rubber. So speaking of that, what is... Yeah, I'm going to leave this arm permanently turned off for now, just so that the lab stops running. In fact, before we do the rubber, one more thing I want to do. These two arms right here are going to put crap in my backpack if I get too close to them, as demonstrated. And we don't want that. That's fucking annoying. Devs, please remove that feature. But in the meantime, while the devs refuse to remove that feature, I could use the same system that I have here to turn those arms off. So pretty much when this is full, turn the arms off. And when it's not full, when it's not full, turn this one on. So what that means is I can have a smaller buffer. Let me go find some tethers. So let's fill this up with this stuff so we don't have material nodes like sitting here that just aren't doing anything. I don't know why they get so big when you hover them over these slots. They just do. I don't understand this game, chat. It's just, you just take things for what they are with Astroneer. Things don't make any sense and you just get used to it. Just the absolute unit, like resource, or not resource, the absolute unit tethers that you get when you hover over it. Alright, so what we've accomplished here, let me set this to full or not full. So if it's full, this should be turned on. If it's not full, these two should be turned on to get this thing to produce more materials. So let's go ahead and do that. These are whatever, I'll fix this later. These are rotated the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. It's literally, I'm the only person in the universe that cares about where these target pins go on the auto arms. Alright, so in this situation, these two should be turned off. And this one should be turned on. And it's going to grab the materials. And I guess it'll grab the ones on the floor as well. Let me dump these here. I have no idea what the priority is for these. Full or not full? Can you believe I already forgot what I said that prompted you to say that in chat? Because I'm sure I said something that would give context to that comment, but I don't remember what it is. I apologize. Oh, full or not full, like the capacity for the store. It's funny because they're homonyms. Thank you, English. Very cool. I use the word homonym because I went to elementary school and they taught us about those. Two words sound the same but have a different meaning. That's what a homonym is, right? I'm not a dumbass. I might be a dumbass, I don't remember. There's heterophones or no, homophone. Yep, alright, I'm a dumbass. Homonym is same. Hold up, what's a homonym? Is that same spelling, different pronunciation, and homophone is same pronunciation, different meaning and spelling or something? Is that what that is? I guess meaning isn't important to that one. I didn't go to elementary school. I'm a homophone. Thank you, Adam. Alright, so this should be working. Okay, outputs. Okay, yep, this is working. Homonym, same spelling, different meaning? Okay. Are you sure? Are you sure homonym's not same spelling, different pronunciation, like minute and minute? Or can it mean both of those things? Like, that part of it's not in the, like, in the word homonym. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't fucking know. I didn't go to elementary school. You found out, chat. Cosine dropped out of elementary school. Doesn't know the difference between a homophone and a homonym. All education system failed me. I just have to become an Astroneer science streamer. I don't know why I decided I need to move these now, but they were agitating me. I'm sorry. I need to turn off the plastic system. Like right now. Because it's making plastic that I have nowhere to put. Yeah, so this should be working. Basically, I'm gonna force this one off so that it stops doing shit. Or rather, it'll be off in a second here. I think. It's too powerful. Okay, you know what? I have a better idea. We'll do that. Alright, so now we've turned off the plastic system. What we need to do next is get the rubber one set up. I've already filled that canister. I'm gonna have to figure something else out for this. Rubber. So, rubber is resin and organic. This one should be really fucking easy because they're both right next to each other. So let's get 2 more arms. Why do I still have this thing over here? And in theory, I could build these on either side. Like, I could make some of the chemistry labs over here and some of them over here, and that's probably what I'm going to do to reduce the, like, density of this. Like, kind of alternate them. So we're going to actually build this one on this side instead. Because I can just grab the materials from over here. It'll just make things a little bit easier to organize. And we'll have the rail system, like, kind of run maybe along both sides. I could turn around the smelters as well and have them deposit here, but we'll worry about that later. I'll run the rails after I've kind of figured out where I'm going to have all the chemistry labs. But I think most likely we're going to have a rail running through here. Like, maybe I'll have the rail come through this area and then loop back around here and then go up is tentatively what I'm going to do. So that it'll have like 3 spots where I could potentially drop off items. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. It's easy enough to move that around later if I need to, or I could do it off stream just to save people the tedium of watching me do that. So let's do the fun part. Let's design another chemistry lab. I'm looking for more medium platform A's. So we need 2 more of these. We need 1 for the output. I think we're running out of them already. There's more behind these other objects. I have like 3 more left. I'm gonna have to print more of these. I didn't make enough. Oh, what am I doing? Do that. Do that one. And then these 2 are going to grab these materials. It's actually fairly generous, like, how I could set these up, because these rings on the ground here, like, the ranges are fairly good. Which means if I want to get, like, the organic, for instance, which I'm gonna actually plug that in a second here. But if I want to get the organic, for instance, I can have the arm basically be anywhere in, like, this area, and it'll still be able to reach it. So I don't have to worry too much about the logistics of that. It's more important like having precision placement than it is to have like precision retrieval of materials from these. The placement is the thing that I need to be precise because I don't want them placing on the wrong storage. That's like the whole issue that I'm trying to avoid here, because that'll deadlock the system if I let it do that. Alright, so this should be turned on until it fills that up. Oh, that was some weird lighting. Oh, the light was just shining through the weird little grid circle pattern down there. Honestly, I'm impressed with how low I have the graphics settings. The fact that these shadows cast with this kind of clarity is honestly pretty nice. And I have most of my graphics on this game set fairly low because this game is a PC slayer and it basically, I will not be able to stream it at high graphics even though I could play it like that normally, because streaming is using enough of my CPU that it starts causing problems for this. I'm not sure if I could play this game at like full max graphics anymore with how big this base is. Like you can see my frame rate dips a little bit every time I look up. But I could definitely run it higher when I'm not streaming. I do need to get a PC upgrade at some point here, though, to be able to stream games a little bit more clarity. Like Deep Rock occasionally has issues as well when there's a lot of particles. I mean, what game doesn't have that problem? So we're going to set up pretty much the exact same thing that we did over there with this one, except it's going to be rubber instead. I'm trying to move this out of the way. There we go. And then I think we'll set up the rail, I think, right after that. We'll move the rails through this area so that I can have, like, fully automated plastic and rubber. So we'll actually do that next. I don't know why I have that in that slot. God, this is a mess down here. So that's already set to run automatically. I need a storage sensor. I'm running out of storage sensors. I did not make enough. I am not prepared. But we just need one here, and then 3 tethers, which I think I still have a few sitting on the floor over here. Here they are. And again, these tethers are just trash items to fill the extra slots. Do that, do that, do that one. We have one extra just sitting around. I will clean all this nonsense up at some point. And that'll be the output slot for the rubber that I use to detect whether or not this should be turned on. So I'll stick that one there. Good enough. Good enough. Alright. And then I like to do this here with these segment pins because it just makes it a little easier to see what's going on without having to carry around like an extra segment pin. I can basically know that this is the storage sensor powering these objects. Placing it on top here is purely aesthetic. Like you can still see there's a wire connecting to the storage sensor, but it can have a segment pin placed on itself. So it's a nice convention that I have to make it easier to see what these are connected to, and it also elevates them off the ground a little bit for more visual clarity. This should be good to go. So in this state, it should be doing this. And nothing's happening. Once again, nothing is happening because it's not powered. There's going to be a pattern here. Take a shot every time Cosine wonders why the auto arms aren't working, and it's because they're not powered. Actually, don't do that. It might kill you, and I don't want to be liable for that. Once again, we have scuffed it because I placed this too close, and the arms were able to reach that storage slot there. Now it should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these in. Do that, do that. Alright. And this is more or less the gist of how you automate this kind of stuff, as far as the production side of things. Now we need to get rid of the output products. And I'm going to run the rails through this area. We may also be able to set up... Whoa, camera. We may also be able to set up a second train on the same, like, cyclical rail system that I have here, which would be very nice if I did that. Because it would basically, like, just double... Well, it wouldn't double it because I'm going to make the rail twice as long, but I could have maybe as many as, like, 3 or 4 trains, depending on how long I let this get. I don't know what the bottlenecks are going to be for making the system like this, but, you know, we'll find out. So what we should have going on here is these arms are off because this slot is occupied. This arm is supposed to be on right now. And then it would, hypothetically, it would have a spot to... Oh, it doesn't have a filter item. There we go. Then it would turn itself off. These turn back on. I'm gonna let my backpack be the sacrifice here. Alright, it'll put crap in my backpack. Grab the new one, that'll toggle the system back to input mode right as this is finishing. This will finish, They'll place items, it'll drop it off in that slot. This arm will turn back on, and it's perfect. That's the whole cycle that we wanted. Alright, so we need to build a rail. In order to do that, there, the rail posts. So I need a rail post bundle. These are tall. We don't want to use the tall ones underground. I mean, I guess I could probably use them, but they might carve the ceiling, which I don't want them to do, so I prefer to use the short ones. I am going to need to print a few more of these, I think. Yeah, I'm going to need to print more of these, so let me go up and get those now so we don't run out in the middle of it. There's a regular rail post bundle. I think that's aluminum and resin. I haven't made these in a while. Well, conveniently, there's a bunch of aluminum I didn't want on the ground here. And my backpack's full, as they do. And let's also keep the ceramic up and running. In fact, let me use a resource canister to pull these in here, and I'll sort these later. I don't want to go full auto on the clay here because I don't want to make too much of it and like backlog this in case I need to make anything else with the centrifuge. Like potentially I might need to make some quartz or something. Anyways, we're up here to make sensors. Not sensors, make rails. What is in my backpack that's taking up so much space? I guess I just have a bunch of building garbage in it. Alright, anyways, rail posts. I think they're near the end? Question mark? They're there. Alright, rail post bundle, and then one more. These print really fast, thankfully. Alright, we got our rail posts. That should be enough. That's like 25 of these things. Alright, so the way that I want to do this... We have this hole here. This is gonna be very hacky initially, and I'll try to change it a bit later. I'm trying to decide how I want to set this up. So the rail is currently moving forward in this direction. So it's gonna go up here. It's going to go through the sorter. It's gonna come back down here. Maybe just my lunch taking up space in my backpack. Oh, thanks, Mom. I didn't even notice that she did that. How thoughtful. I don't know where it is, though. I don't know how to get it out. I don't know what pocket my lunch is in. Maybe I'll find it by the end of the stream. Alright, so anyways, I have a couple options here for where I branch this off, and I'm thinking what I might do to keep this simple for now is have the train come down this area, and then instead have it go left, find it before it gets moldy. I don't know if the mold could grow in this atmosphere. It might be fine, honestly. This might be a sterile atmosphere. It's got like sulfur and shit in it. I mean, that might cause other problems for my sandwich, but you know, we'll worry about those problems when we get there. I don't know if any mold could grow on this planet. Anyways, my idea is to have the rails start over here, run down this way, go around this, loop back over here, go all the way here, and then bend around the furnaces and go into here, and this is where it would reconnect with the system that we have now. And what that basically means is I don't have to fuck with the carving engine, like doing any damage to this nice little hole I made here, which if I could go back in time, I would make this hole bigger. Because I've been having issues. Every time I build rails, they carve like a chunk out of this hole, and it's infuriating, so lessons learned for the future. Wait, I had a space for that one. Game, I would really like to use the rail post bundle that is half full, or half empty, whatever suits your fancy. So let's set this up in a way that's not currently connected. So I would have one like right... Let's see, how did I do this? Like right about here, maybe. So the new one is going to start like right here. And we're just going to go more or less in a straight line. It's very easy to insert new rails into this later on. So it's something like this. Just swing wide. This is definitely not going to be permanent because I'm going to have buildings in this spot. So this is going to have to take a tighter turn. Or, yeah, it's going to have to take a sharp turn on this wall. But for now, I just want to get it working. We're not going to be building anything in this area. I have no idea what this rail is trying to connect to on the surface right now, but it's making me nervous. I'm very carefully making sure it doesn't actually connect to whatever that is up there, because I absolutely don't want it doing that. You know what? I need to check on that. What's it trying to do right now? What is it connecting to? Is it the empty tall post? Okay, it's trying to connect to this. I don't think I have to worry about it getting that one. That one's too far away. It would only connect, I think, if I was directly under it, and I can keep an eye out for that. Alright, so this will be our first drop-off point. We'll set it up like right... Oh, yeah, there you go. You see it's white now? It will actually connect to the one upstairs. Maybe I need to do something about that. That's a problem. I was actually really hoping that wasn't going to happen. That's dangerous. The reason why that's dangerous is because if I let those two connect through the floor, that is going to carve a hole in the floor right here. Is there any way that I can get that to not happen? I think I might put another tall post up there just as like just sort of a dead end. What I should probably do is use one of these sight pylons and just elevate it up here somewhere, like up in the air a bit, so that I don't have to worry about that connecting anymore, but we do need to deal with that. So, where is my thing? It's down here. How much hydrazine do I have? Let me grab another one of these for my jetpack. Oh, really? No inventory space? Let me guess. I have one small rail post left that I haven't used yet. Devs, please add 2 more inventory spots. Just 2. All I'm asking, just 2 more inventory slots. Might need to drop off some of this, like, building stuff. Anyways, what I was down here for is I need 1 tall rail post to stick up there. And grab this. It is very important that I deploy this tall rail post off of my backpack, because if I don't do that, it's going to place it on the ground and it's going to immediately connect to anything that it wants. If I just like hover over it and press use, it is going to just put it on the floor somewhere and auto connect to the nearest rail. And that's a bad thing. We don't want that. That's the opposite of what we're going for here. So let me set this up. This rail currently serves no purpose other than to just prevent anything downstairs from connecting to it. I need to wait for it to stop jittering. There we go. That's temporary. I can move that later. It looks kind of cool, honestly. I got a monorail in my base. I mean, monorails are dumb, but it looks cool. I mean, that's why cities get monorails, I think, because for some reason people really like monorails. Monorails are not good civil engineering, chat, so I've heard. I don't know what to believe anymore. We took care of that, so let's put this back over here. Grab these bad boys again. Alright, so now I should be able to do what I want, which it cannot connect. It's that right there, that thing that's going straight up is the new one that I placed, and it's now at an angle where I don't have to worry about it doing anything. So that problem is solved for now. Just go ahead and place this. And I don't think I have any more loose rail posts sitting around, but I will keep an eye out for it. So what we're going to do here is not place it there. We're going to get this out of the way. We're going to swing a little bit wide. Something like that. Disneyland can't be wrong. I mean, okay, let's be fair. It's Disneyland. They have to make it look cool and flashy. Like, I can't even blame them, honestly. Whichever Disneyland park or parks have monorails. I don't know if it's all of them. I haven't been to Disneyland in ages. Imagine going to an amusement park in this post-COVID society and not coming back with a deadly disease. Alright, so here's the other one. I'll just cut this corner sharp like that. It should be fine. They're not going to do any carving as long as these rails are flat. And I can tidy them up off stream. Alright, so we want it to go through here. I don't want it to be jittering right now. If I place the rail while it's jittering and it's at a 90-degree angle, it will actually carve the ground while it's twitching like that, which is not good. So we don't want it to be doing that, because then I have to clean up the mess. So we're going to do this, and then what should happen here is if I pick this one up, these two here should auto-connect, and that will complete the circuit. And similarly, I think if I move this one, these two here will auto-connect. So let's see, I'm trying to think how I want to do this. This is going to break our sorting system, which is fine. Well, here it comes. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and break the circuit on the sorting system. I'm thinking how I want to do this. Wherever I sever a target pin, I just have to remember to reconnect it. So, yeah, this one is going to get severed is what's going to happen. So I'm going to just go ahead and sort of move it over to this rail post here. This is just a consistency thing. Like, I just have a sort of the design scheme behind all of this. To put the pins in that spot. Yeah, that did not do what I wanted. There we go. Alright, so let's just move it over here. You don't have to place the segment pins like this specifically, it's just how I like to do it. So this one won't reach, so I need to... I don't know why it was not allowing me to just put it on the ground there. Oh my god, come on game. Great segment, there you go. Let's run it all the way over here. We should have enough segments available. If not, I can place a button repeater. Except I keep doing this wrong. I need to place segments. Segment pins are just there to like extend the wires. Target pins are the ones that actually activate things. And it is bugging out again. And the reason why this is happening right now, I have this weird glitch target pin. I think it's because I'm out of like the draw range of the original one. So like I have it over here, for instance. The thing that this is sourced from is roughly where I'm circling my cursor. But if I move a little bit further away, I go outside the draw distance and the game stops updating the position of this target pin. That's 4 bugs for the bug bounty today. And I'm not even going out of my way to show off these bugs. They just happen naturally. So thank you, Astroneer. Very cool. What we're going to do to make that less of a pain in the ass in the future is maybe use button repeaters. In fact, I don't have enough segments anyway, so I'm going to use a button repeater now. And that'll just prevent that issue from happening. They're still functional, it's just I can't see what I'm doing. So I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm looking for button repeaters. There we go. We have a large stack of them. Drop this bad boy up there. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Come on, game. Oh my god. I'm just trying to get the one off the ceiling. There we go. And whatever, we'll leave this on the floor. We're going to use it in a minute anyways. Bugs? Yes. The crickets, if you wish. Alright, so what I'm going to do is set up a button repeater right here. So this will just be a good intermediate spot. Eventually we'll probably have another like output station over here in this side, so this button repeater won't be necessary, but for now we're going to go ahead and do it. And this is basically just a Minecraft repeater. It's just going to renew the signal, and a couple milliseconds later it'll continue sending it along the circuit. It basically won't cause any problems to do it like this. So let's do that. I need one on the ground because these don't reach long enough, and for whatever reason you could put target pins on the rails, but segment pins aren't always consistent. I think you can create a segment pin on the side of a rail, but you can't put it back on the side of the rail once you've created it for some reason. That's 5 bugs. We got 5 now. I didn't even know about that one. I mean, I knew about that one. I just wasn't thinking about it. That's 5 bugs so far. Love this game. All right, so then the last thing we need to do is recreate a couple of these. So for anyone in chat who was wondering how I set up this janky-ass rail system, you're about to learn how I did it. But the gist of it is, this is a bad example because this is the one I disconnected. The gist of it is I have this signal like circuit running alongside the rails. For reasons that are difficult to explain, I cannot use these detector pins to see if the train has arrived at one of these rail posts, so I need to just have a rolling signal going along the circuit, calling the train to each individual stopping point, one at a time. And eventually we might have 2 pulses running through the loop for 2 different trains. But the reason I can't use these is mostly because they don't work correctly when you're far away, which there's a lot of far away in this video game, and nothing is reliable in this fucking game when you move away from it, sometimes not even when you're near it. That's 6 bugs technically, that counts as 6. So what we have set up here is a running pulse that goes around this loop. Now the pulse is disconnected right now because I just broke the rail system, but what it boils down to is we send a signal to one of these posts. It calls the train, it starts a delay, it turns on these auto arms, and it turns off the auto arms at the previous stop. The train goes over to this post, sits here until these delay repeaters are done counting, at which point these delay repeaters will turn off these arms, turn on the next set of arms, call the train to the next rail post, and start the next delay. So like they basically 4 things happen at the end of each cycle. Turn off the arms, turn on the next arms, call the train, and start the next timer. And we do that in a cycle all the way around this entire rail post. So what I'm going to be doing is creating another 2 more of these things. We need to add 2 stations, 1 for each side of the chemistry labs. In the future, there'll probably be like 5 or 6 more of these drop-off points. And the train is just going to sit at each drop-off point for auto arms to interact with it. They can either add things or remove it. So this is the back side of the main storage. And these auto arms are responsible for pulling things off of the train. But we can also have auto arms like this one here for the resin that is sitting here waiting for an opportunity to put resin on the train instead. And it's more or less the equivalent of a sushi belt in Factoria is what we've built here. Because in this video game, making anything more complicated than that proved to be absurd, and I decided not to do it. So we're just going to see if this works out on the large scale. Like, it's been working reasonably well, albeit slowly, on the small scale. I have no idea what problems I'm going to run into when I make this, like, full size. So I can't wait to find out. Hooey, that's going to be fun when I find out that something here doesn't work because I have like too many rail posts or something, but we haven't reached that point yet. So what I'm looking for right now are more medium platform A's. You'll notice that I had B platforms, the ones with 4 slots on them. And the reason for that is because the rail system used to go back and forth, so each rail station basically had 2 of those timers attached to it. We don't need to do that anymore, so I've changed it to only have 1. And I'm going to slowly swap those out for A platforms, which are the smallest ones that have 2 slots, which is exactly what I need to store this timing setup. So we have a button repeater. I have this arrow conventionally pointing in the direction the train moves in. And I need to get 3 or 4 count repeaters. It kind of depends on how far the train has to travel. I need to make sure that the train has time to get to the station and actually do things before it gets called to the next one. I would love it if I could use the little detectors on the sides of the rail posts, but again, I can't do that because it's not reliable. It will stop working if I get too far away. These are count repeaters. I need delay repeaters. So unfortunately, we just have to stack a shitload of delay repeaters onto this. I think I'm going to go for 6, which I think equates to about 7, not 7, maybe like 15 seconds. I don't remember exactly. These are about 3 1/3 seconds. So yeah, I guess this is about 20 seconds if I have 6 of them. And it's adding more of them is simple. Like, it is increasing the delay is as easy as just adding more. 25, 25, and 25. All right, I already configured these ones. So we'll go ahead and stick this here. It doesn't really matter where this goes. I'll just stick it on the right. Trying to interact with this. Alright, so the thing that we want to do here is just kind of stick it wherever. That doesn't really matter that much. I don't have a good convention for where I put these pins. Alright, so what we want to do. This pin all the way back up top already turned off the arms that were at that station. It turns these ones on. It turns them on long before the train gets here, but that just simplified the wiring a lot. So the arms are going to be sitting here the whole time the train is in transit. There's not a whole lot I could do about that. And I'm looking at that distance. I think I need 2 more of these. Just add a couple to the stack. Now we've got 8 of these now. It should be like 20-something seconds. Anyways, we need to also call the train. This is all going to happen at the same time. Right there. And those are the 4 actions. So the 4th action is back there. We have 3 more actions. This is just how I error check myself to make sure I'm doing this correctly. And then this button repeater is going to be responsible for deciding whether or not arms in this area can be turned on or off. So you're going to see what I do here in a second. We're going to set up a logic gate for this. For now, this arm is always on, so this button repeater is not connected to anything, but eventually I will make this arm only be active if the train is here and if it has something to output. So we will make an AND gate. We've done this a couple times already. It shouldn't be too complicated. And then once all that hot garbage is done, we have this one here. And this needs to turn off the auto arms that don't exist yet. Camera, please stop moving. I just like to stick it like right here. There we go. It's easy to see it when it drops down. Actually, that did not connect to the button repeater. That connected to the pin on top of the button repeater. Whatever, I'll clean it up later. Alright, so that's the first action. And the second thing we need to do is run it along the rails again. I'm surprised I didn't put anything in my backpack. I guess I didn't run close enough to it. Alright, stick that on the underside. Drop one here, stick it on the underside, and this is where the second station is going to go, where our plastic output is. Do that, and do that. We'll come back to this in a moment. Let me get the fixings for the second one of these. This is much better than the design I had with a back and forth layout. These are actually pretty conceptually simple, I think, because it's just a timer and then 1 button repeater for all the arms. And the button, this doesn't have to be a button repeater. I could just add more segments to this one, but it's more modular that way. I don't have to worry about accidentally breaking the cable over there and disconnecting all the auto arms. So button repeaters are a good way to add some robustness to the otherwise inconsistent control scheme in this video game. Where's the other one? I thought I stuck one on the ground somewhere. Oh, whatever, I'll just get another. Didn't put anything in my backpack because it still has my lunch in it. Oh my god. This lunch is saving my balls here. I don't have to worry about random ass items getting put in my backpack. Oh, my backpack's... it is full. That explains a lot. I see what you're getting at now. Alright, so... Where's the medium platform? There it is. Yep, that definitely explains it. Strictly speaking, I suppose I could do this. This will activate everything on this platform. Wow, it took me this long to remember that's a thing you can do in this game. If I put it here, this one pin will activate the button repeater and whatever's in this slot over here, I'm pretty sure. So I'll go ahead and try that out. I just drop kicked that box. Get over there. Alright, so I need another stack. I don't need as many of these. I'm just sort of winging it on the timings here. I'm going to guess that I need like 5 for this one. We're just going to get 5 count repeaters. These are super cheap. Or delay repeaters, not count repeaters. There we go. So let's just get 5 delay repeaters for this one. Yeah, thanks, Mom. I'm not going to eat your sandwich, though. It's protecting my inventory from crap that I don't want. These ones are not set to 25. Davis, please let me set this to like 100. Thank you. 25 is not long enough. These ones are set. Okay. 25 delay. I'm reading, by the way, I'm reading the status text. I'll leave this up so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm reading that status text to double check them, that they're all on 25 cycle delay, which they are. That's the maximum. Alright, so we have that one, and then we want to call the train to this post. So we use the target pin. That's good. Again, this button repeater will eventually connect to stuff, but it does not do that right now. We'll be getting to that. Camera, stop moving, please. Alright, so this one, is this going to cooperate? There we go, that actually connected to the button repeater, that funny looking angle. And then we continue the cycle. Run it all the way over here. Make it nice and pretty. And then this is where we're going to have to reconnect everything. Where's my cursor? Why is there a white cursor in a game where everything is also white? Alright, so if I remove this, let's see if it auto-connects. No, it did not. So if I jostle this one a little bit, it should do that. There we go. Alright, and then I just have to rewire this, and we will have recreated the circuit, and I can turn the train back on, and everything should be good to go. So drop this off here, use our newfound technology to put the target pin on the platform, which should activate everything on the platform instead. If it doesn't work, I'll fix it. I can test that in a moment, actually. And did I connect this to everything? Yeah, these 2 items, and then also the railway post, so that'll call the train. I think we're good to go then. I think I closed the circuit. So I need to go jump start it again. I'm not going to do that. Let's go up here. Little water bottle. Every time you join my chat, I remember I need to hydrate, because nobody in chat is telling me to hydrate. You're my hero. You get to do it for free. Alright, anyways, let's see here. This is the jump start I've been using. Where is the train, actually? It's over there. Okay, got stuck on this one. I'll go ahead and synchronize all this. And there we go, there's a hydrant. Okay, so the train stopped here. These arms turned off, but I had disconnected the next one. You my dolly dude. Yeah, next time I play Spelunky, if that ever happens again, so you can redeem Classic Guy. Or if you want to submit more art, which would be a better use of your money than Classic Guy redeems. But you know, I mean, I would remove the redeem if I wasn't willing to do it. It's just begrudgingly. So let's see, if I turn this one on, I think this will get the system up and running. So the train, what should happen in a second here is the train is going to go here. These arms are going to turn on. And then the train should go forward. No Man's Sky 2. Not quite. If you're talking about this game. This is... it kind of superficially has that vibe to it, but no, this is not in fact No Man's Sky 2. This is Astroneer Shadow Legends, my new sponsor. There are no shadow... well, there's shadows. There's no legends in this game, really. It does have shadows, so the title's like 2/3 accurate. I'm going to be following the train for a minute, by the way, so if you want to save stuff like a chat and have a higher probability of the streamer reading it, now's your time, because I'm just kind of following the train. I need to watch it do a full circuit to make sure I didn't break it at any point. Shadow the Hedgehog, also not. This is also, in fact, not that game, and I will probably not play that video game ever on stream. I mean, I won't say never. There's a lot of things I didn't think I would end up doing that I wound up doing on stream, like becoming an affiliate or streaming at all. One of these days I'll create a 100k redeem and you need to be ready. I gotta be careful about that, because I think there's people that can actually afford that. If I do that, it has to be something I'm actually willing to do. Read this message out loud. There you go. Here, I'll do another take for you. Read this message out loud. There, you got 2 takes. You got like a more like calm voiced version of it, and then you had like the original like gruff, like I don't give a fuck about anything voice. Why is there so much aluminum on this? I need to figure out why I have so much aluminum. In any case, let's first make sure the train's actually working correctly. I'll move this arm in a second here. I just want to make sure the train's actually running the loop. So that timer is operating. Yeah, we're bottlenecked somewhere because this laterite should be getting consumed and it's not. I think I need to add another condition, which is if I have too much laterite in the system, I need it to not keep mining it because it's not smelting it fast enough. So it waits there. This auto arm could be interacting with the train. And then if it survives this one, then that means we're good to go. And I have successfully linked up the cycle. And this is so much better than the back and forth that I had before. And then potentially I will throw a second train on like the geometrically opposite, well not geometrically, like distance-wise, the opposite end of the rail. So that we have 2 trains running in the loop. And that should like double the throughput of the rail system. Alright, I think we're good to go. First try, let's go. What isn't first try is the fact that we have way too much laterite, so... what is going on here? We need to figure out why this is jammed. This is supposed to be like the waiting canister for the smelters. So why is the smelter not doing anything? Let me guess, it's a bottleneck, or it's a deadlock. So the smelter is sitting here. Why is it? No, it's not a deadlock at all. Why is nothing happening? This auto arm right here is holding laterite. And it's not placing it. Yep, alright, this is like bug number 7, chat. We're only 2 hours into the stream. I think this auto smelter is... this smelting furnace is dead from the neck up now. Like, I don't think it's going to work anymore. Yeah, I cannot place anything on this portable smelter. It just will not work. If I turn it off and on again, nothing happens. It's just bricked at this point. People have been complaining about this ever since they added these to the game. These things just randomly stop working, and I don't know how to fix it. This one here I think was bricked earlier. Yeah, this one is also bricked. It will not accept materials. I cannot put anything on it. It doesn't matter if I power it. I can't package it because it's a small item, so I can't reset the status. I think these things just die after a while. Devs, please. I can't do... yeah, I can't... this is basically useless. I can't use this anymore. So that is something I'm going to have to figure out how to fix. We're going to stop using those. Oh, cool. Yeah, you're going to put items in my backpack because it's held up to my HUD? Oh my fucking god. Please, devs, why can this happen? Alright, let's get one that works. So this one doesn't work anymore. This one should still work. There we go. Alright, so we have 2 bricked portable smelting furnaces. At the very least, I think this will unblock the system. Let me... whatever, I'll bring these upstairs another time. I don't know how to recover these. If anybody in chat is an Astroneer aficionado and you actually know how to make these work correctly, love to hear from you. Because I think those are literally useless and I basically need to scrap them. So we're going to actually go back to using smelters, but I'm not going to do that right now. That might be an off-stream activity because it won't be very interesting. It'll just be me moving the stuff downstairs into a wider space is literally all that would be happening if I did that. But yeah, portable smelters are broken. That's like 7 or 8 bugs now. Love this video game. If they would just do a quality of life update in this game, that'd be fantastic. I should stream it. No. There's two reasons why I'm not going to stream everything I do in this game. One, I spend easily twice as much time off stream like smoothing and building stuff than I do on stream. And second of all, you got to realize that when I'm doing streams like this, I actually have like a plan for what I'm doing. I don't just wing it. Like, that's not my streaming style for this kind of game. I don't want to go in and just smooth walls for 6 hours with nothing interesting to say, and people are just watching that. Like, that is not interesting content as far as I'm concerned, and it's also not something I want to do. I don't want to feel compelled to provide commentary while I'm staring at my Astroneer's ass, trying to smooth the ceiling, like with this camera angle. This is what is happening off stream, chat. When I'm making these rooms, this is what I'm looking at for like 6 hours while I'm like listening to another stream on the side or have like music running or something. This is not good streaming content. Like, this is the stuff you edit out if you're making a YouTube video. I'm sparing everyone the agony of having to deal with that, and I'm sparing myself from having to try to talk through all of that and make it interesting to people. Trust me, it's in everyone's better interest if I just don't do that. Whether or not you think that would be good content to watch, the second reason again is that I don't want to have to provide commentary while I'm doing that. Like, there's two people that have to watch this. There's me that has to actually produce the content, and then chat members that actually want to see it. So it's probably not going to happen. We're not going to have any like any like after hours Astroneer streams because it's just not good content, and I want the ability to just get up and go do something else in the middle of it as well. Or sometimes I'll be doing this in the background while I'm like waiting to like stream snipe a Spelunky co-op or something. I could be the new Ice Poseidon. I don't know who that is. I'm assuming it's a bad thing. It is a nice ass. This isn't the Astroneer that has like the childbearing thighs, but I mean it is still a nice bum. I mean, you can't really see it. Hold on, let me get the... There we go. There you go. There's the bum. This is why this is a mature audience's stream right there. We get to see the Astroneer booty. Yeah, I don't know who Ice Poseidon is. I'm not sure if I want to know at this point. Anyways, well, I just got sidetracked. What I'm doing now is I want to set up these arms to actually be able to deposit onto the train. Speaking of trains, it actually has different materials on it, so this is slowly emptying out the laterite, at which point the rest of the system should start working again. So let me go over to this one, line this one up with the train. And that's not ideal. I could always use the rail to power this instead, but there we go. Okay, that just barely reaches. I just need to make sure this arm can reach all the slots. This is not ideal. I think I should move this one a little closer. Picking this up shouldn't sever any of the lines. There we go. That's a little bit better. And it's in my backpack. Mom, I need more lunch. There we go. Alright, that should do the trick. Then I have a bunch of excess plastic here that I'll need to take upstairs and get that sorted manually. Yeah, we are very mature here. Uwu says egg X. Should I just call you Egg Phil or just Egg? I'll just call you Egg. I assume you don't want to be called Egg X Phil. What is going on here? Why do I have so much astronium that's not getting sorted? Throughput is becoming a problem here. I'm going to need to address this a little more easily. Am I full on astronium, or is there just... or what is the problem just the fact that I had so much aluminum deadlocking the system? Yeah, we're not full. I had so much aluminum deadlocking the system, I think, that it was just not allowing anything else to get processed, and the astronium is just slowly causing a backup. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. I don't think I'm ever going to find out who Ice Poseidon is, because Captain doesn't want to tell me. I'm not cool enough to know. Alright, so I'm just gonna do this real quick. This is just me like manually loading the system to save a little bit of time, and somehow it sniped one of the auto arms, put astronium back in the canister when I like flicked it past. This game never ceases to amaze me. Alright, so the reason why I did all that though is because I wanted to put the plastic here. Actually, I'll just transfer the plastic into one of these silos, I think. It doesn't matter that these items are on this platform, it just matters that they're close enough that this auto arm can reach them. So this will eventually empty out, but I just want to move the plastic out of the system faster so that I can get some of the congestion fixed. And then hopefully we won't have a jam anymore. I mean, we will. Eventually the portable smelter is going to break again, I'll have to get another one. Oh boy, what do we got? We got an Isaac live update. Danger, I gotta come clean. I don't know what half of that means anymore. It's been so long since I played Isaac. I don't know what J plus E means anymore. Oh, then you died. You died to an enemy that spawns close. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't know what that means. So I don't know how good of a run that was that you just lost to bullshit. But I'm sorry for your loss. I know the feeling of stepping into that narrow hallway that immediately had like one of those spiders in it that just shoots a spread shot, and it's like, well, I guess I'll die now. Fun game design. I don't know how much of that shit they fixed. It's been so long since I played Isaac. Alright, there we go. That should take care of the plastic situation. We have some empty canisters sitting around. Drop that off. I need to be keeping up on this. Let's print like a couple more of these. Okay, so I think we have a full circuit, so I'm going to set up the AND gates now. Never mind, I'm going to go feed the snails. Loud noises incoming, brace yourself. Brace yourself for bad programming, chat. Actually, it's not going to happen. I got my backpack open in time. We're good. We're clean. We don't have to listen to the loud noises from the oxygenator. I got here fast enough. There we go. We have 1 more hour of snail food. I don't need to hold this anymore. Ow, your ears. I'm a little premature there. No, it didn't happen. You're not supposed to say that unless it actually happens. You can't just type it in chat early, like expecting that it'll line up properly with the event that I was anticipating. No, I saved all of you. I'm a hero. I'm a good streamer. Wish they'd put more time into Stationeers. I'm not sure if I get it. I know Astroneer, Stationeer, but I'm trying to correlate Astro and Station, and it's not coming to me. I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. Remember, it's hit or miss. If you say like a joke or a pun in my chat, there's like a 50% chance that I either don't remember what I said that prompted you to say the pun, or I just straight up don't get it. Now, if that's the experience that you came here for, then stick around. Because again, 50% chance of that happening. I did not want that in my backpack. Thank you, game. Isaac Devs also makes Stationeers. I did not know that this game existed. I thought Stationeer was like a word for something like train related that I didn't know about. Is that a recent development then? Because I did not know about that at all. Anyways, let's set up the logic gate. So power switches are the thing you use to do this. Let's see. I could use a power sensor, or I could just use that mini RTG thing that I had. Let's just... There's a couple ways to do this. Space Station Construction, released 2017. I'm assuming the game wasn't terribly popular then, because I like literally never heard of it. This isn't like I've heard the name of this game but don't know anything about it. This is just straight up I have never heard of this game. And I'm usually at least know when a video game exists. I don't know, maybe it's good or not. Maybe it's good, I have no idea. The Boy Gaming with Friends, thank you for the follow. I hope you followed specifically to make fun of me for not understanding jokes that people make in chat. But either way, welcome. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so here's the deal. Let me explain why I'm sitting here not doing anything useful. I'm thinking about the problems that we have. So here's how you make an AND gate to start with. Let's start with that and work our way up. So you might be thinking, oh, you can just do this. And the way that an AND gate works logically is both conditions need to be true, meaning both power switches need to be turned on. In this case, the two conditions that we want to be true, if I could get this thing to branch, I don't have convention, I'll just stick it there, is we want to have an item here waiting for the arm to pick it up, and we want the train to be in the station, which is what this button repeater was for. That's why I put those here. So just stick it like that. And this just by convention again, I just place these segment pins on top when they're at short range. So here's our AND gate. And you might be thinking this is fine and all. The problem is this fucker right here is a directional cable plug. And what that means is that like all the power in my base, once it is consumed by the primary network, is going to get sent here, which may or may not cause problems later. I don't know exactly how the game distributes the power. My understanding is it's like, I think half of the power becomes available to this like connected network here, which the connected network here is literally the entire base, and Silva via the space elevator is the primary connected network. And then like some fixed proportion of the power is going to go through this directional line for the sole purpose of powering this one auto arm. So we're talking like 300 units of power are going to get sent to this auto arm. And if I add more of these, like if I add another one to this side, it's going to split it 3 ways, I think, is how it works. The point is that's bad, and that's dumb, and we don't want it to do that. So the way that you usually get around this nonsense, given the janky mechanics of this game, is you set up the logic gate separately from the actual power grid, which unfortunately makes it slightly more complicated, but it removes these shitty directional power plugs and allows us to replace it with something that will just process the logic. And then I could just turn the arm on and off instead. So the way that I'm going to do that is with this battery. So let me connect the battery to it. I'm trying to flip the direction, and it is not cooperating. There we go. Nope, there we don't go. Why is it not working? Power goes that way. And that way. This is very hacky and messy. And then for at the cost of an additional power sensor... not a battery sensor. Where are my power sensors? I know I have at least one. There. I have 4. I'm just blind. So then you stick a power sensor over here, like this. And what you'll notice is this entire system that I have set up right here is completely disconnected from my power grid. And what we're going to do with this power sensor is power gained or lost. Yeah, we want that, I believe. And that is going to turn the auto arm on and off. So just stick that there. Okay, so what we've accomplished here is, first of all, the purpose of the battery is to provide a power flow. These things detect power but do not drain it. I'm not entirely sure, like, what the exact nature of this is that allows this to work. But despite the fact that this would, under other circumstances, drain power from my base, it doesn't drain power from the battery. I don't know the details of how or why the power grid in this game is as janky as it is. I may be wrong. If there is a tech professional that can point out how shitty my logic gates are and that there's a better way to do this, I'm all ears. But as far as I understand it, as far as the testing I've done, I essentially want to have this AND gate right here set up separately from the rest of the base. And again, since this is a pulse-based like power system for all the logic in this game, we need a continuous like power supply to create the system that I actually need with this logic gate. I don't know, if I explain that really poorly, I apologize, but the gist of it is both of these power switches need to be on for the arm to be turned on. So that's not going to work if the train is here. That's not going to work if there's an item waiting in storage. But if the train is here and there's an item in storage, the auto arm turns on. And if either of those things are not true, the arm turns off again. That's how you basically have multiple conditions for an auto arm being turned on instead of a single condition, which is what I had before. So hopefully I explained that reasonably concisely. Try not to worry too much about the jank. Just build it like this unless you find somebody more qualified than me that tells you to build it a better way. You could just build a logic gate like this, like literally the whole thing is on screen. So if anybody actually like wanted to build this in their game, this is it right here. Take a screenshot, make a clip, save a VOD, I don't know. Share it with your friends, tell everyone, tell your relatives that don't know what this game even is. Tell all the old people in your life that you know how to make an AND gate in Astroneer. So what we want to do right now is there's actually one condition that is being met, and it's this one. If I take the rubber off, oh, the train is coming. Perfect. Perfect demonstration. So the train is about to show up here. Let's see if the system works. Here it comes. I think the train might be full, so I'm going to take a couple items off to make sure that it can actually drop something off. Alright, it has drop-off room now, so it can actually put a couple things on the train. There were a couple slots anyways. And nothing is happening. So the question then is, why was nothing happening? I didn't mean to pick that up. It was here. It was turned on. It wasn't powered. Chat, that's another shot. Cosine made an auto arm that's not powered. Take a shot. That's why it didn't work. It turned on, but there was no power connected to it, so it just didn't do anything. I think in theory this works. This should be fine. The arm turned on when it was supposed to. It just didn't have a power. So, yep. There's going to be a lot of those today. And just in general, this happens every stream. You're cutting your dad's hair later today, so you'll tell him about these gates. Thank you. You're doing God's work here. Everybody needs to know how to make a logic gate in Astroneer. This is very important knowledge that the world needs to know about. Even though this might not even be the best way to do it. It's just the way I do it. I'm not pretending to be the gospel of knowledge on how to do this stuff. But this is the best design I have so far that does not have directional power draining your grid. Battery, 2 or more power switches, and a power sensor. And I showed off how to do an OR gate like on a previous stream. If anybody wants to know how to do an OR gate, I could show that, but AND gates are generally the thing you want in this game. Is this a nerd science game like Minecraft Redstone? It's actually not. This game is... Okay, I'll explain this in a second. Let me start setting up the next one. But this game is basically a baby game if you play it the way they want you to. Like, the game gives you a bunch of missions and stuff that you can do, which I can't find. More or less, the way I would say that they want you to play the game is to do these missions. The game kind of, like, gives you a bunch of branching objectives to solve, like, that does a decent job of taking you through all of the parts of the game, except the automation system. Where the way the automation system works is the game basically stops at telling you to make, like, an auto arm. And once you make an auto arm, it's like, alright, thumbs up, you're good to go, you've experienced the automation system. Let's go back to gathering snails or whatever. But that is barely scratching the surface of what automation could do in this game. So you play this game for 2 reasons. One, because it's like a sandboxy, like, planet exploration game. There's some mining, you run around the surface, you find stuff, there's progression. It's a fairly fun gameplay loop on its own, but it's not very deep. Like, once you've done a playthrough of this game, that's kind of the playthrough you're always going to do. But if you want to challenge yourself in the end game, that's when you start making, like, mega bases and doing shit like this. Like, pushing the limits of what's possible by adding automation and, like, excessive amounts of hoarding to your gameplay experience, which is what I've been doing in this stream for, I think, over 100 hours now of this game that I've streamed so far. And then, like, a couple hundred more off stream where I was, like, building stuff that was not interesting to watch. But really, you can get both of these things out of this game. So, like, basically, if you watch, like, the trailer or, like, your favorite YouTuber that just, like, kind of does a basic playthrough of the game, you'll get an idea of the gist of normal gameplay. And then you could look at technical stuff like what I'm doing, or there are a handful of other technical players and YouTubers out there. You can also watch how they play the game to see, like, what's possible with the automation systems and the auto arms and the rails and all that neat stuff. So there's a lot to this game. I love this game, despite how fucking broken this game is. I really enjoy it. I mean, that's why I'm still playing it here. And you can do all sorts of ridiculous stuff if you're willing to push the physics engine as well. Like, this thing here was on another planet, and I towed it through space to get it to this one. Similarly, I have a space elevator on the North Pole of this planet, and I used it to tow one of these large solar arrays that you see up here that are providing, like, hundreds of units of power to my base. One of these is from the planet I'm on right now, and one of these was towed via space elevator. The one on the right here was taken via space elevator to this planet. You're not even supposed to be able to build space elevators in this game. It's because of a combination of bugs that I was able to even do it in the first place. So, there's a lot of depth to this game if this looks interesting to you, both adventure-wise and, like, building factories and stuff. Like, there's a lot to do here. I think it's a very fun game. It's definitely worth the money it costs. Like, get it on sale if this seems interesting to you. Just keep in mind, this game performs like fucking ass on consoles, so be wary if you're going to buy this game on console before you get yourself into something you're going to regret. This game in general performs terribly. Like, my computer is decent, and I'm not playing the game at high settings, and I'm able to play it at usually 60 FPS if there isn't a lot going on. But don't buy this game and then find out you can't run it. Like, do a little bit of research into that. Like, decide if you want to actually get this game on console, because consoles have a lot of problems running this game. It is what it is. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it still has problems. I'm gonna get super drunk if that's... Wait, what? No, I'm not gonna take a shot. But yeah, you have to take a shot. I don't drink. I literally have been sober my entire life. I have never drank an alcoholic beverage. I have more alcohol in my blood from inhaling the fumes from the hand sanitizer I use every time I go outside than drinking alcohol. So, I ain't taking a shot. That's on you, chat. If you were to get this game, if you're bored of No Man's Sky, you'll get it on Steam. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Obviously, do your research. Decide if it's a game that you would like, but I'm showing you end game content. This is not how this game plays for your first 10 or 20 hours. This is end game content right here. So you're not getting a full image of like what this game plays like. You're getting to see what this game plays like when you already have everything and you just want to get more everything. That's what I'm doing right now. Razor, I'll read your essay in a moment, but let me build something real quick here. I don't mean essay in a rude way. I'm just saying it's a long chat message. So let me set up this logic gate and then I'll check out what you had to say here. So power sensor, battery, this is why I have this stuff on this silo, specifically to be able to just make logic gates on the fly like this. And we have one battery sensor that I'm probably never going to use right now. So we're going to build pretty much the same exact thing. I'm just going to stick it over here. I might move it later or off stream or something. I could put these on a platform to organize them a bit, but it won't really help that much. But it's the same exact premise as before. Two of these things to create an AND gate. Power sensor, and then the power sensor is the thing that's responsible for controlling the auto arm. And potentially any other stuff if I needed it to. Right, so then we branch off of this. The first gate is controlled by whether or not this arm should be turned on based on this storage. And then the second one is whether or not the arm should be turned on based on the train being here. And drop that off. And I just do this for organization's sake. This is a little bit crowded, so I'll go ahead and move this segment pin over there. Okay, and again, you should be able to see more or less what's going on here. And then the last thing is, this one should be off. So the arm is going to be turned off. This condition is met, but the train is not here, so this arm is not going to be turned on yet. I think we've made the condition. Alright, so your biggest issue is the weird power distribution. The units... Yeah, if you were expecting this game to emulate real power, it doesn't at all. Absolutely not. I don't know much about like actual like electrical engineering and how power works. I barely remember the difference between current and voltage, and resistance, and all that nonsense. Like that's something I honestly ought to learn at some point in my life because it's interesting to me. But what I know is this game does not emulate that at all. Power is just... It just exists. There's no such thing as like current in this game, really. It's just you have a fixed number of buildings that produce a specific number of units of power per frame, and you have a specific number of units consumed per frame. Like you can see here, draws 10 U per second, which I think U is just their generic term for units of power. And batteries just have a capacity. So they hold a certain number of units. I'm sure there's like a rough, actual real-world power equivalent for this, but this game doesn't emulate any other mechanics other than there are just hard-coded throughput limits on certain things. Like rovers, I think, can only output like maybe... I don't know what the number is, but I feel like rovers can only output like maybe 5 units per second of power, no matter how much of a power source they have. And I think batteries can output 1. But like there's throughput limits for cables, and then certain buildings also have throughput limits. So stuff like that. But yeah, this is not realistic power. I literally have like 700 or 800 units of power I think available to this base at any given time, and the majority of them are just going to the back rooms pretty much. You don't have to worry about disposing of power. It's kind of like how Factorio works with power. Like if you have extra power in Factorio, it's just gone. It doesn't go anywhere if you don't have anything to consume it. You don't have to worry about your power station like basically backing up or overheating or otherwise destroying a resistor somewhere. It just goes away forever. That said, I'm glad this game doesn't emulate any of that crap, because knowing this game, it would lag more if it did that, and it wouldn't be fun to deal with it at all. But I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. I've never played a game, I think, that has proper like power simulation in it. The closest is Oxygen Not Included, and that game doesn't really do that either. I think Oxygen Not Included also deletes power if you don't have anything to consume it. Anyways, logic gate. I think we've done everything we need to do here. This is your first step in every game. No, not in this game. You got to do a lot of work in this game to get to this point. I mean, unless you just go into creative mode, which I would not recommend doing for your first playthrough, because you won't know what anything is, and creative mode is not particularly fun. Like, I use creative mode in this game to test stuff, to do it in adventure mode. This entire stream is an adventure mode stream. Nothing has been spawned in, nothing has been cheated. All adventure mode. I've only used creative mode to test things ahead of time in a separate save file, and then went back to the one on stream. And I think that's the ideal way to play this game. But of course, if you want to build, you can do it in creative mode. But let's be real, the building system in this game is ass. If you want to build in this game, just go play Minecraft instead and get a mod that just gives you a higher render distance. You'll have a much better time doing it. Alright, so I think we have actually finished automating these 2 chemistry labs while I've been rambling this whole time. We have logic gates set up. These arms should only be turned on when the train is ready and willing to take materials from it. We shouldn't have a bunch of power getting consumed unnecessarily by it. I'll clean this nonsense up off stream, but let's go do something else for a little while, like in Astroneer. Well, I think we might switch to Deep Rock Galactic in a couple hours, but I have a couple more things unrelated to building the chemistry labs that I wanted to do on today's stream. So I need to look up that list of things, but first of all, let me go upstairs with as much crap as I can carry, just to get a few things off the floor before they disappear into the back rooms. When I say disappear into the back rooms, I mean things in this game fall through the floor if you leave them sitting around for too long while you're too far away. Because this is a video game. And video games just... walls are a suggestion in video games, and this is no exception. So how are we doing on snail food? Okay, they've got like, I think, 40 minutes or so left, so that should be pretty good. Let me look at my to-do list and decide what I want to do here while I stand on this object. In case there's a dev in chat, because I know I showed this off at the beginning of the stream, please fix. Particle emitters have solid collision. So while I stand on this solid collision particle emitter that I can't get rid of, let me go see if I can figure out what I wanted to do next. Let's see, I showed off all that. I'm not going to design that. I need to reconnect a few resources to the base. I could do that. Sorter input. I want to do something off-planet, I think, so I think we're going to go on a joyride to show off the other parts of this game that aren't building this base. Yeah, okay, I'm going to cleverly disguise this as a resource trip for a resource we don't need yet, so let me get some canisters on the rocket. And by rocket, I mean not the rocket, because that's not what we're going to use for this. Actually, are we going to... No, never mind, we're going to use the rocket, because there's actually something really cool I wanted to show off that I noticed earlier. So I'm going to throw some resource canisters here. We're going to go to Glacio to grab a few items. And then there's something very interesting you can do in the rocket view that I sort of knew about but didn't realize that there was a specific angle that I could get it from. So just wait for the game to save, nice and laggy. Love to see it. I think I'm going to have to lower the graphics quality. The game's getting a little crusty. Like, that's not the stream crusting, that's actually my game, like, just jittering and running at a low frame rate. Yeah, we need to lower that. That's causing problems now. It was fun while it lasted. Goodbye, high quality terrain. That'll get some frames back. Alright, so anyways, we need to go to Glacio. And then we're over at Glacio. There's something interesting that I can see through the void of space that should be interesting to look at. We can get a very weird looking view of our base. So first of all, let me go to the planet, grab the materials I wanted. I'm waiting for a specific landing site to come into view. But for anyone unfamiliar, this is normal gameplay again. This is like how you travel between planets like a normal person. You get progressively better rockets, and you can go between planets, you can have bases on other planets. This one has its own, like, separated power supply, yada yada. This is more normal gameplay here. I'm just collecting resources from these other planets, because each planet has its own specific set of resources available to it. And in this case, I'm getting titanium and iron from this ice planet here. So, swap this out. Oh, here's bug number 9, I think. For some reason, auto extractors, you just have to jostle them every now and then, and they just get all their resources back. I don't know why I started counting bugs, but that's what we're doing now. So anyways, there's that. Let's get the titanium, which should have it. Okay, one canister's filled, the other one's close. And we have another bugged rail car. I showed this off earlier, so this is not like bug number 10 or anything. Let me get this fixed. Nothing is reliable in this game. This is a 90% functional video game. So I'm just going to drop this off here. I need to go fix that real quick. I'm trying to figure out if I can come up with a more robust system that prevents this nonsense from happening. But what has essentially happened is there's supposed to be a storage sensor on this car to send it back down when it's empty, but the storage sensor just is over there. This is the same thing we saw at the beginning of the stream. The fucking storage sensor is over here now for some reason. It's still attached to this train, but it's just over here. So like I could pick this up, for instance, and rotate it. You can see the storage sensor is over there now. But it's so far away from the train that the target pin is not attached, and that's why the train turned off. Interesting. Why'd the game let me do that? The game wasn't supposed to let me connect that. You know what? We're going to embrace the bugs. I think we fixed it. Oh no, JK, disconnected again. Okay, I need to actually move it. The second I started moving it, it disconnected the pin. This is supposed to look like this, with this thing somewhere on the side of the train, and then the pin attached there. Don't know why that's happening. Sometimes it doesn't happen. I think it has something to do with saving and loading the game while the trains are in the low level of detail mode, which basically means they're really far away from me and they're not moving smoothly. I think that's what causes that to happen. Not sure. Anyways, let's do the thing that I came here for, which is to show off a very interesting bird's eye view of my base. So we're going to do a little demonstration here because we're going to go on a joyride after this just for the hell of it, just to mix things up a little bit, keep the stream fresh. So here's this thing that I usually show every stream. Actually, hold on, let me minimize that. First of all, you see the planets here? This kind of vaguely resembles a solar system. You've got the sun, planets orbiting it, whatever. This is fake. This is wrong. These are lies. The planets are actually here in the game engine, and all the ones that you see like out in the sky are basically just like simulated into a position as though they were like orbiting each other, but those are just like models with no collision. You can't actually go to those models. Even if you like fly up into the void of space, you actually need to go to these locations here that I'm showing on this funny diagram that I made. We're on the one called Glacia right now. Calidor is the home planet down there that I'm at. You start the game when you're on Silva, but Calidor is the planet at the bottom here that, oh my god, what is, okay, there we go. I fucked up my perspective for some reason. Calidor is where my base is. Specifically, my base is right here on the surface of Calidor on this side. And then this is directionally, all these planets are oriented north and south. So this is Silva's North Pole, this is Silva's South Pole. And similarly, if you go down further, that's Calidor's South Pole, Glacio's South is here, and so on. So this is how the planets are arranged in the game engine. You might be thinking, why does that matter? You need to use a rocket to fly between planets. And the answer is, you can actually travel between these planets using rovers, and you can see some jank related to the positions of the planets, even when you're not there. So if we go back to this view now, Glacio is the only planet here that is real. And first thing you'll notice is the satellite. This shows up on Reddit literally once a week. What is this thing? Everyone on Reddit, I've never seen this before. Is it a secret? Is it an East? No, it's not. It's the satellite. It's this thing that you see over the sun, except it's the real copy of the unidentified satellite as it exists in the game engine. Always rendered for some reason once you have unlocked a single like planetary core. I don't know why. I don't know why it renders. It shouldn't. But physically, this is where it actually is in space. And if we look at the diagram again, you can see the satellite up there, diagonal and up from Glacia. And what do you know? That's where it is here. It is up a little bit and then over like 2 planetary units, 2 astronomical units or whatever. So that's where that is. But the thing is, I did not mean to click on that. Hold on, I need to fly back. Or not fly back, there we go. The thing is, all of the planets do this, but the planets don't render. The satellite is kind of the exception of the rule. However, there are things on the planets that do render, and an astute observer might have noticed there's more stars down here than in the other locations, and those aren't stars. That's no moon. That is actually features on these other planets. So what you're looking at here, these little veins are rails on Silva, the starting planet, at the center of the system. And then if I go down a bit more, to Calidor along the South Pole, that's the space elevator. That line that you see there is actually going through that intervening space between the planets in this game. And then this is my home base. So I didn't realize this angle existed, but I can actually get the camera close enough to my home base from Glacio by using this like planetary view to see the base on Calidor. And if I jostle the camera a bit, I should be able to get it to zoom in a little bit more. This is very neat though. I did not know this angle existed. There we go. This is as good as I'm going to be able to get it. But this is the entire base with no terrain rendered. All the objects on the surface are visible, but the terrain is not, and the resources are not. So those are the two solar arrays on top of the gateway. The gateways also aren't rendered. You can see every rail, all the storage canisters. This was really cool. I accidentally noticed this when I just happened to like pan the camera across the planet from the right angle. And due to where the base is on Calidor, you get this like bird's eye view of the base just because of how I happen to place it, just by coincidence. So we don't see the underside of the base or anything. We actually see the top. So the whole storage array is like in this area. And then this is very sensitive, so it's hard to rotate it, but you can see the basement a little bit, like some of the stuff in the basement down in that area. You got the rail station, my parking structure, and then you have all the rails like fanning out in every direction from the base. There's an auto extractor there. They go all the way down to the core of the planet, which is a little bit harder to zoom into, but you can go down to the core. I think it's... yeah, this right here is the core. This is as close as the game is letting me zoom in. I can't go any closer than that. But there's the core. This is the stopping point on the outer shell. The Astronium... that is the Astronium extractor right there. And then if I zoom back out a bit, you can see I have two rails going all the way down to the center of the planet. It's also worth noting, all of the site pylons on this planet are visible as well from this angle. So you see all this crap in space. The vast majority of these are actually site pylons, which I can zoom into one a little more closely if I get one near the camera. See if I'm trying to just get one that's close so you can see what I'm talking about here. Now you can see them well enough. These things here, these weird looking like triple pointed things, those are all site pylons from the rail system. They're just visible at all times, and when they're further away, they actually unrender everything except... I'm circling one right here. I know it's a little hard to see. I'm at 720p. I can't stream this game at 1080. But that is actually the rail portion of the site pylon. These cast shadows. Like this is going back to something that I showed off on a previous stream. These actually cast shadows through interplanetary space. So if you're in the right place at the right time and the sun is on the other side of one of these site pylons, you can be on another planet. And the site pylons from like Glacio, for instance, will cast a shadow across the void of space onto the surface of the Solo or something if you happen to be in the right spot. This game is wild, like some of the weird like nonsense that it lets you do because of this. Oh, this is a good angle. Or rather, this is a good zoom level. This is about as close as it gets before the camera starts to occlude it. Like you can see here that this is cut off. The clipping plane with this camera view, for whatever reason, is really far from the camera. And clipping plane just basically means like how close something can be before you can't see it anymore. It's a graphics term. But the clip plane is really far away, so I can't get any closer than this, or this stuff will actually go out of view. But you can see everything, including the... I think it's nighttime on the planet. But anyways, you can see the Eagle lander there with its headlights coming out. I towed that from another planet. The farms. That's the stack of... yeah, that's the stack of exo caches on the gateway. The gateway's not rendered, obviously, but everything else is. And you can see just about everything, I think, if you can get the camera close enough to it. It's very neat. These are the bugs that I... like, it would be kind of cool if they fixed it, but at the same time, it's really awesome to be able to do this. That's a marble, by the way, right there. So, like, I guess technically, if I was really good at keeping track of my position with the camera here, you could go hunting for the marbles by using this glitch with the camera. There's only certain angles that you can do it from, obviously. Like, I can't see the other side of the planet due to just the way the camera zoom works, but... if there was, like, for instance, a marble under the base, you can see what they look like in the base here. I have a silo full of them. But if you're close enough to those with your camera, you could spot them underground. And looking around, it doesn't look like I have any nearby. So it would be difficult for me to actually use this information to find one. But, yeah, there's another one. That's a marble right there under the surface, I think. You can kind of see what the layers are to the planet. I didn't know there was another solar array over there. I should tow that over the base. Started playing this game and it's insane. This game is fun. Like the bugs are half the fun and also half the misery of this game. So like finding out that you can do stuff like this is really cool. There's another marble. There's one here. I don't think these are on the surface. I think all these marbles are down one cave layer. because you can sort of see, it's easy to see it near the center. There are obviously shells. Like, this is one shell of the planet's core. You go down, there's another shell, and that's actually the core layer. So there's a shell, I don't know what the names are for these. This is like core, mantle. I think there's a secondary mantle layer right here that has less stuff in it. Miss Jack Daniels, thank you for the follow. Then these are like two cavern layers. I think there's a cavern layer here where I'm running my cursor. There's a shittier cavern layer right here, and then I think this is the surface of the planet after that. It's like something like that. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. I don't remember off the top of my head. For the moons, I believe there's fewer of them. But it's very cool. And then this here where I'm running my cursor is where the planet would be if it was rendering the surface. Just landed at Glacia. Yeah, Glacia is a trove of stuff because it has like such good research items. I love Glacia. I would have made the base on Glacia if I hadn't done that in my like last single player playthrough. Or no, it was one before that that I did a base on Glacia. So I picked Calidor, the desert planet, which has still been kind of fun. It's presented a few interesting challenges. Yeah, I have done literally everything in the game except stepping through the final ending on the unidentified satellite. I don't know if you've beaten this game or not, so I won't spoil it, but this thing here is associated with like the canonical ending to the game, and I haven't done that part yet. Like, I've set it up, I just haven't finished it off. Basically, when I end this series, when I stop streaming this game, that's when I will, like, do the actual, like, roll credits, like, finale of the game. It revolves around this satellite. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but that satellite is at the crux of it. And in case you just got here, this thing right here, if you ever see this in space, this thing right here is actually the unidentified satellite. This is the physical model of the satellite, just like the planet I was showing off. Now, if we go back to the diagram that I was showing here, there are a few things I don't fully understand about this system. So the angle that we have right now is Glacia to Calidor. So we have our camera fixed to Glacia, and we're looking at this spot on Calidor, where my base is. Pretty much what this means is that this diagonal, this like square root of 2 distance between these two planets is basically the minimum zoom level that you can have on the camera. The maximum is, I think, far enough to get to DeSolo, so I might be able to get a camera angle on DeSolo from Glacio, but I can't get one on Silva because Silva is too close. Now the thing is, I haven't been to DeSolo yet in this particular session, so I might not be able to get a good look at it. I'm not sure if it's going to load that stuff in. But if I were to have a view of DeSolo, I can't get rid of this text box, by the way. I apologize, there's not much I could do about it. Silva is right here in front of the camera. I'm at max zoom. You can actually see the rails right here. This is where my base is on Silva, and again, this line down here is the space elevator. It's very thin. It's hard to see it, but it should be visible. DeSolo is on the opposite side of this, and I can zoom the camera far out enough to see it, but it's not rendering. And I'm not entirely certain why that is. I don't know if it's because there is actually a maximum distance I can be, because the render distance for these objects, I believe, is based on where my character is, not where the camera is necessarily. But then there's also things that are affected by the camera. I'm not entirely sure like what the distinction is, why some things are like that and some aren't. But there is a planet right where I'm hovering the camera, and it's not showing up at all. Like, none of the stuff that's on the planet is visible to me as far as I can tell. I'm trying to get a better angle, because DeSolo would be right here. Right where I'm circling the cursor is where it should be. Like directly below the unidentified satellite here. I'm not showing you the right screen, hold on. But it should be directly below the unidentified satellite. I need to get a better split screen. So here we go, this is what I was trying to show. It should be right here in this spot, and I can't see it yet. So I'm gonna try something actually. Let me get back to the main chat, there we go. Cool map, yeah, I figured it out. Bad streamer. So what we're going to do actually is go to DeSolo to see if I can load in all that crap, and then see if we can see Glacio from there. This game is taking over your life. This is a very fun game. I played the shit out of this game the first time I got it, like years ago. I didn't get this game in beta. I did get it after release, but I played the shit out of this game the first time around. It was originally, I think I got it to play co-op with people, but it turns out the netcode in this game is dog shit, but the solo worked really well. So I ended up playing the game solo. That wasn't like a DeSolo pun, I just wanted to say the word solo. Like, single player ended up being how I played it. Good time. So in theory, we can use DeSolo to get the same angle on Calidor if the game is willing to render Calidor. So what I'm looking for right now is the actual location of the planet in space. It should be to the south. Oh, we got something in camera. Oh, that's interesting. You can see some occlusion happening here on some of these objects. What we're looking at right now is Basania, I believe. That's interesting. I wonder if this is another bug, if these are occluded from certain directions and not others, because something's not working correctly. Yeah, this is Basania that I'm looking at stuff on. I have not built a base really on Basania, so there's very little here. And for some reason, I'm able to spot a few things. These are large wrecks, I believe. These are like very large objects on the surface of the planet, but you see if I zoom out more, they stop rendering. I wonder why that is. That's interesting. I wonder why that's inconsistent and why I just happen to be able to see my home base really clearly from space. But on this planet, if these things are too far away from the camera, they stop rendering. This is such a bizarre game. I wonder why that happens. Do a backflip. I cannot do a backflip unless I get in a vehicle. Good game. Yep, that's it. This game is super fucking buggy, and you have to use the bugs to your advantage, like what I'm doing right now. Find the bugs that are fun and abuse the shit out of them, and then just try to work around the ones that aren't fun. It's unfortunate. I really wish they'd do a quality of life pass and fix some of the issues that this game has, but, you know, we make do with what we got. So anyways, that's Visania. I was hoping that I could get a camera angle on Calidor. Oh, here we go. Maybe we have something here. Yeah, it's a little bit crusty from this angle. I don't know why that is. This is Glacia. So you see the stuff floating in the void of space? These blue rocks, this is stuff that's on Glacia right now. But as you can see, it's doing the same thing as before, where some of the stuff, like, goes out of render distance. Rails, however, are an interesting case, because rails seem to be always visible, no matter what. It does not matter where you are, rails always render. Other stuff is inconsistent. In this case, we have a pretty good view of Glacia right now. The base I have isn't as big as the one that's on Calidor, but you can see it fairly clearly here. I'm trying to get it into a good light. There we go. So this is the landing pad I dropped my rocket off on. I don't know what this rail is. That's the wind turbine. Yeah, I don't remember what the orientation is. I think the gateway is right here, if I recall correctly. Where's the auto extractor for the iron? I'm having trouble seeing it. I can't zoom in much more because I have very little precision on that. There's an auto extractor here. That's probably the iron. Yeah, this is where the gateway is. Reminds you of the bugs in Breath of the Wild. I think Breath of the Wild has mostly fun bugs, right? Because this game has a lot of bugs that are not fun. They tend to kick in later on in your playthrough. It's like, I'm dealing with the not fun bugs all the time. But, like, for initially when you're playing through this game, you tend not to run into them as much. Like, they did try to polish off most of the ones that are a problem for casual gameplay, but if you get to the end game like me and you're too stubborn to play something else, you're going to start running into them. Alright, so anyways, I just wanted to test to see if I could get that angle to work, but going back to this, it's supposed to be here now. We are now looking at Glacio from DeSolo. So DeSolo all the way to this side of Glacio, which just so happens to be where I put my base, apparently. But that's the angle that we're seeing now. So in theory, you can do this for any planet except Silva. Maybe you can do it for Silva when you're on the satellite. So let's just go ahead and try that. Why not? This is interesting to me. So let's fly to the satellite. Again, the satellite there is the same one that you see floating in the void of space above the Solo. It used to be you could click on this. You can't anymore. But I'm going to go to that thing. I, once again, forgot to turn the overlay off. Don't yell at me, chat. It's this. You get the point. I showed this before. I need to make like a voice command or something for when I have the overlay up. Did it work? Stream? Why is it still there? OBS? Okay, my stream's just really far behind. Have fun? Alright, we'll do. Have a good night. I'm having a good time right now. We might do Deep Rock later. Deep Rock's also another fun game. Anyways, we're here now. So, let's zoom out a bit. So this one's a little bit weird. I don't know why they haven't fixed this either. This is a bug. You know, chat, this is bug number 10, I think. For some reason, the band of stars, like the galactic band or whatever you would call this, galactic band's probably taken already as a band name, but if not, you can have that one. That one's on me. For some reason, it's rotated sideways, and it's not because it's rotated wrong. It's actually because, let me get out of this view. It's actually because, for whatever reason, this satellite is oriented sideways. Like, you see how it's like this? It's not on top of the sun. It's very strange the way they did this. I don't know why they did this nonsense, but despite the fact that the satellite is depicted as being above the sun, according to like the orbital plane for all the planets, you can see how this is where the disk is for the solar system. Alright. And whatever, I'll look at that later. That was just some crap on a planet. I was seeing that. And anyways, you can see how this is where the orbital disk is located right now. For some reason, it's actually sideways if you go there. So it's on the side of the sun instead. And so the whole thing is like rotated wrong. I don't know why they did this. It doesn't make any sense. These are literally just like matrix transformations to get all these planets oriented like this. They're not tangible. There's no technical reason why it needs to be like this. The devs just haven't bothered fixing it for some reason. But it's oriented sideways relative to that plane, and that's why I have this bizarre angle that isn't like consistent with the rest of it. Don't know why that is, but that's why when I was looking at it on DeSolo, you saw that it was actually sideways. It wasn't oriented north to south. It's because north is, I think, it's hard to tell, but I think north is this direction, and then south is this direction. And this thing is just like that for whatever reason. So anyways, the reason I came here was I wanted to look at Silva from our cursed perspective, which that might be what this is right here. Let's see, what do we have here? I'm not sure if this is Calidor or Silva. I'm trying to spot the base. This is Calidor. Yeah, this is my base on Calidor, is this mess right here. So here's actually, you can look at the undercarriage of the Calidor base. This is the same thing that we were doing from Glacio, but I'm underneath it instead from this particular angle of the satellite. And what that means is Silva is over here on the other side of the space elevator. And this is how you would look at Silva from this bird's eye view. If you made your base on Silva, which is where the game starts you. Again, I apologize. It's very hard to do small camera increments while I'm doing this, so that's why it's so jittery. So I apologize for that. I'm trying to get as close as I can without the clip plane occluding it. Come on. Nope, didn't mean to do that. I think this is as good as it's going to get. The camera won't cooperate. Whatever, you get the gist of it. This is the base. There's not much stuff there. There's like a wind turbine, some other crap, and then of course there's a rail going down to the core. I did that on most of the, maybe not most actually, only like 2 or 3 of the planets I think have a rail line going down to the core. The rest of them I just went down there once to activate it, and then left. So what else can you see? You can actually see a few trees. I think these are the trees that have research objects on them. Some of the wreckages. It's not a very useful way to scout the planet, unfortunately, because you can't, like, mark anything. You can't really see anything very clearly, but it would let you see if you had, like, a valuable object that fell into the caves below the base, for instance. Or again, if you're hunting for marbles, there's a marble right there. You would have to remember that this marble, for instance, is underneath this wreckage, and if you dig straight down and use Usagi, it'll probably show up on your compass. And this wreckage right here should be visible from the surface of Silva if I was more interested in paying attention to where that is. Alright, well anyways, that's what I wanted to show off there. I thought that was really neat. You can look at your base from basically any planet if you just know what to do. You just have to know what the arrangement of the planets is to know where to look, pretty much, which again is this thing. I might make this public at some point. This is, like you can see up here, this is a local file just on my SSD. I don't know why I said that. All my drives are SSDs now, except the one that I put like large files on. But there's pictures of that. I think somebody else has a similar tool that I discovered after I programmed the one that I wrote, but I like mine more because it has labels on it, so whatever. Come at me, whoever wrote the other one. Someday I'll probably publish that somewhere, so if you really wanted, you could use that. It would just run locally in your browser. You don't have to like download an exe or anything. I'm not going to do that. It'll just be a web app. It's just like a single JavaScript file anyways. Alright, so that's what I wanted to show off. We are going to go back to Calidor. All right. Oh, yeah, yeah, turn it off and on again. Isn't that always the way? Think, I think it's fine now. I literally. All right. Shut up.
Oh, yeah,
Stop.
yeah, turn it off and on
Stop.
again.
Cosine,
Isn't that
quiet.
always the way?
Okay, well, thank you for pointing that out. I don't know when that happened. You said 10 minutes now. So here's a summary for anyone who just was sitting there wondering why I wasn't saying anything. I'm still looking for graphite. I made a note about where quartz deposits are potentially. I was saying I can't really use any of this resin. Fucking so yeah, all I did was I just unplugged and put my headset back. That's all I just did because it was literally getting no feedback. You were vibing to the music. Maybe I need to talk less. Anyways, music's back. Because that was working. It was just my headset was not picking up audio. This is not the first time I've had this happen. I need to get a new headset. I got a new chair. Maybe it's time to get a new headset. Really, what if I get a really sick headset? Maybe I'll be better at Overwatch, and then I could stream that game and impress everybody by being like a diamond like Mercy main or something. Whatever. That's for another day. Anyways, the gist of it is I'm considering looking for graphite on the surface of the planet. What chair did I end up getting? It ended up being a mesh chair. It wasn't the Aeron one. Like I said, that was like way out of my budget and it didn't have a headrest anyways. The problem is I don't know what the name of this chair is because it's one of those Amazon listings that has like 60 like words just like piled into it. Let's see. For anyone who's wondering, I'm going to type it in chat, just for anyone who is curious what it is. And this might get you where you need to be. I mean, I like it so far, but I haven't had it long enough to say whether or not it'll last. But it is a Samofu. Let's see. I'm literally looking across my room at the box for the chair that I still haven't put away. I think I got that right. I did not get that right. Let's see. 7-11-09. I don't know where they get these names. Alright, that's what I ended up getting. So if anyone was curious, I've talked about this before. This isn't like completely out of left field. I've discussed this chair before. That's the one I ended up getting. So far, I do not regret getting it. It has been a very nice chair, easy to assemble. It was like, I think like $300 or something, which, I mean, the Herman Miller chair was like fucking $1,600, which is why I ultimately wasn't gonna get it. And again, it didn't have a headrest, which I really wanted to have a headrest, so I could just lean back and watch Minecraft videos or whatever, as one does. But yeah, anyways, I don't know if that chair is gonna last. I have no idea, like, if the build quality is going to turn out to be good or not, but that's what I got. This is not a sponsored recommendation for that chair. This is just me saying I got it, and my initial impressions are good. But it's going to be, I think, months before I determine if anything is wrong with it. By the way, if I randomly stop talking again, please tell me if the headset does this again. I don't know if it's a hardware thing or if it's just Windows causing problems, as Windows often does. So let's see. Let's go down one more layer and check the ceiling. Yeah, this is a good spot. Yeah, we got a pre-built wedge in the wall. God, where is the graphite? This is a terrible spot. Huh, tungsten. Is that graphite right there? Or is that just weird lighting? I don't think it's graphite. Let me go to the other side because this camera angle is awful. I don't need this compass anymore. Just making more visual noise, reducing the bitrate further. Yeah, it wasn't graphite, it was just the floor having a bit of a shine to it. What do we got over here? Tons of resin. I could theoretically source a lot of my materials from down here. The problem is, it's pretty far away at this point, and if I can get them on the surface, that'd be easier. That said, though, it is also easier if I have all the extractors in the same area, instead of like every which random direction. If I could just do like a single pass to replant the auto extractors every now and then. That said, I still do not see any graphite whatsoever. I've gone like the whole way down now and I still have not spotted any. I wonder if the rocket's going to let me launch from down here. Let's try one more. Let's go down a little bit more. I can pick up these research items, I guess, while I'm here because I have storage space for it. Those have been sitting there for an eternity and I've just never gotten around to bringing a train to pick them up. Took me 2 years. What do you mean? I was not researching a chair for 2 years. Well, the research phase didn't actually end up lasting that long once I got off my ass and decided to get one. Or rather, once Jess yelled at me enough to get a chair. There's nothing. I don't even have to look here. This cave is so empty and I don't see anything. You were? No, I wasn't. What do you mean? I've whined about the chair, but I did not actually research the chair until recently. That's part of why I didn't get one. Was because I didn't want to research it. There's nothing here. Like, there's absolutely nothing on the bottom of this cave. Alright, let's go. Let's just go all the way, I guess. Like, you might be confusing with the headset, which I did do a little research on, and then ended up not concluding anything. I need a new headset as well. Alright, well, we're at the core of the planet, and not a pinch of graphite to be found. And yes, I did see that auto arm snipe an Astronium out of my rocket. Thank you, game. Very cool. I don't know where the graphite is. I thought I saw one at some point. Like in a previous trip to the core. We got some clay down here. That's way too far away to justify grabbing that. I may have just gotten shafted by the RNG, honestly. I don't know, let's go to the surface, I guess, and look for more graphite. I was expecting this to be much faster than this. Can I launch the rocket? Let's go! We don't need to ray trace all the way up to the surface. Just launch out of the tunnel. Right through the gateway, by the way. That gateway was in my way. There we go. And we're back. I'm kind of surprised the game let me do that because it's been a lot less consistent after one of the updates they did for launching like that. But apparently you can still do it. The game seems to only check like a limited amount of terrain and obstacles before it just lets you launch the rocket. So that saved me a hell of a lot of time is what that just did. I need to get more hydrazine, both for the rocket and myself. I wish I knew why the game was lagging right now. I think I'll definitely restart my computer before the next stream. I'm just gonna grab like 3 of these. There we go. I wonder if the lag... I'm starting to think the lag is Windows. I get the feeling Windows is doing something since I had a device like the headset mic just randomly turn off. I get the feeling Windows might be doing something. To think they want me to get Windows 11. That ain't gonna be happening, not with the way they've been doing things. I'm trying to find the slot with the other... Oh my god, camera, what are you doing? I'm stuck. Let me go up! There it is. Alright, we got our stockpile back. And this extra one, I just make a graphene out of that. It still works even though it's half full. Make some budget graphene later. Make more clay. Alright, so I think I'm just gonna go skim the surface instead, because this has been a fruitless endeavor. Maybe the frame rate will get better if I move over here. Oh yeah, I can... No, I'm gonna leave the high quality terrain on, actually, because it'll make it easy to find the graphite. I will turn that back off when I'm done here, so hopefully the stream is less choppy after that. So here we got... So I can use the rocket to check on these deposits, but generally surface deposits in the game are not as good as the underground ones. I would have preferred to find graphite underground, but that's not looking like the case. We have graphite there, but that is such a pathetic deposit. That's a pretty pathetic deposit. Let's see how big that is. can't really see it from this angle. So I'm just looking for a spot where I can get the camera clipped into it. Try this. Okay, here we go. This is... Oh, that's not that bad, actually. I wonder if I could use this. Like, it's all condensed into this cliffside, but I mean, this will last a decent amount of time. I think at this point, this might be my best bet, is just to use this one instead of wasting more time looking for more. I can always get it from somewhere else if I really need to. And it's right over here, next to like some existing rail infrastructure. Like, that rail line goes to the space elevator, so I would run a second line next to it, but I think we'll use this one. What I'm doing right now is I'm visually trying to identify where the center point of the deposit is for the auto extractor. It's probably right about here. Through the wall. I'm gonna say right here is probably the spot to do it. So like a little bit up and left of that plant is what we're gonna aim for. Alright, there we go, we found that. Now let me save everyone some more misery here. Quality terrain off, just lower the distance detail more. Just everything low. All of it. Oh, that one lagged. Okay, low everything. I'm doing my best here. Hopefully we don't have to drop even more quality than that. Oh no, we're not doing it with the anti-aliasing set to that. I just looked at that. That is upsetting. That is viscerally upsetting to me. We're leaving that on medium. There we go. Now, you probably can't see it with the stream compression already making it blurry, but that anti-aliasing was disgusting. That was so gritty with that turned off. Like, the low anti-aliasing, I think, in this game is literally just off. Like, there just isn't any. Okay, that didn't help the frame rate much, but it's a little less choppy, so we'll make do with what we got. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our stuff and make our way over there. I need to get some rails. I also need to determine where I'm going to actually send the trains, because one of the problems I'm having right now is I don't have a good spot to send them down. I have one more slot here. I think for now, I'm going to make the mistake of putting the train over here, next to this one, and I might move it downstairs off stream, so I need to find a site pile, and there should be one underground, but I'm not able to see it from here. I'm also going to need more hydrazine for my backpack. I need to be very careful not to put this down in the wrong spot and have it connect to something it's not supposed to. Alright, this will be the receiving point for the graphite for now, and I'm just going to run it like across the road, and eventually we'll clean this up. Need to go down there again and grab the rail post as well. Actually, I don't need to go down there at all. They're right here. Put the fucking backpack away, game! Devs, please, why does clicking on the backpack open it up? I have never... ever wanted to do that. Every single time I've ever clicked on my backpack to pull it up onto my screen, it's been an accident. Like 100% of the time. Speaking of accidents, where is the one astronium that got placed on this? Here it is. Apparently 3 of them got placed on it while I wasn't looking. There we go. I will put those away later. And so what I was actually here for is the rail posts. So when I'm on the surface, I've been using the tall rail posts because they're less likely to carve terrain up here. And don't worry about the floating ones. I'm gonna have to clean up a bunch of this crap later. I'm gonna most likely move these receiving stations downstairs, but for now this is fine. This is good enough. So what this is gonna do is have an auto arm that could pull the graphite into this spot here, at which point it'll get pulled over into the sorter. So let me just get the rail out of here. Why are there particles coming out of this? No rewards. Finally! I finally depleted all the rewards. When does this event end? 23 days? I don't even know if I'm going to bother farming this. What you see on the ground here is basically the only thing that it has been sending me this entire time. Like, I sent it like 80,000 bytes, and it gave me like 20 rewards before it finished. Well, let's get 20 more. Then I'm going to probably stop farming that just because I can't automate that thing, and it's just a pain in the ass to actually interact with it. I wonder if that's what's causing the lag. Oh my god, I know what's causing the lag now. I forgot about this bug. I think it's actually this research item and that thing existing at the same time. Hold on a second. Let's see. We're real choppy. Let's pick this up. I think I might need to take it out. Is that gonna fix it? No, it's still choppy. Okay, JK, I don't know what it is. There is or was a bug that was causing really low frame rate if you were researching and had one of those trade platforms up at the same time. I might package the trade platform after I'm done receiving rewards from it, just to see if that fixes it. Maybe I should just package it now. I really don't like this lag. I'm going to use one of these damn packages it gave me in an attempt to package it right now to see if that'll get the lag to go away. Because I probably still have rewards. Yeah, I have more rewards. Alright, for the sake of the stream, let's just turn this thing off for now. 60? 60 FPS? Smile? I think it might be better. I'm not really sure, honestly. Oh, whatever. Let's go build the rails. I think it might be a little better now. That might have helped. I'm gonna have to look into that bug and try to understand what exactly causes it. So anyways, let's see, what were we aiming for here? That one over there. Yeah, that's okay. That's where we're going. Just half-ass this for now. It does not matter if these rails clip through each other at all. Now I'm paranoia checking OBS to see if my mic is still getting picked up now. God damn it. Windows, why are you like this? It's fine right now. I'm just looking at the bar. I really need to get a third monitor. I need a new graphics card for that. I need a lot of new things, and I need to be responsible with my spending right now, so I don't have them. Yeah, you can hear me. I'm fine. I checked on the little meter for whether or not the mic was working. Appreciate it, though. Like, really, I just want someone to speak up if it hasn't been... If I haven't said anything for, like, 2 minutes, it's probably, like, the warning sign that something is wrong. Alright, so we're gonna have one there, and I think this might be close enough. I could jostle these rails around a little bit as needed. The spider trees, fortunately, don't collide with the trains. Nothing collides with the trains once they're on the rails. I think that helped my frame rate a little bit. Like, it's still a little choppy, but it's always been kind of choppy in the base. I think there's a bug of some sort related to having research running at the same time that you have, like, the event thing present in your save or something. I don't know exactly what's wrong. Anyways, let's go ahead and do this. I need to reactivate this one. Like, I have a tungsten mine set up already, but it has been disconnected from the base for a really long time for lack of a place to, like, hook it up. I think I'll probably move it over there. I could do that actually, like, right after this. Just make another rail to move the tungsten. Because I already have the infrastructure all set up for that. I just haven't done anything with it in a while. I haven't really needed tungsten. It's not a very useful material. Alright, where's the auto extractor? Am I stupid? There it is. I might be stupid, but I found it. Alright, so what I was saying was I think the center point for this graphite is right about there. What do we got? 2/5 of the bar? That's pretty good. I can shuffle this thing around a bit and see if I can find, like, the best spot. These are all roughly the same. I think we're not going to get it any better than about 2/5. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it just, like, in a visually easy spot to remember, like right about there. Sort of centered between those two the little nuggies there. I think we're good to go. Alright, so the last thing to do here is get an auto arm position that can actually put the stuff on the train. So what direction is it facing? It's facing this way. So reaching the top of the extractor should be fine. It's making sure that all the train slots can be filled. That might be a problem. Alright, that could definitely reach the top of the extractor. And remember that the range for these arms is actually a big cylinder protruding out of the wall. Which I think means this might potentially work if I just do this. I think the way it's going to protrude out of the wall is this in this direction here, and that should just hit the train. Maybe a little over. What I'm trying to do right now is like look straight down at the auto arm, and that is going to be like the center point for the range. Let's try that. I need to go get a rail car. It's going through a spider tree. That's kind of triggering me. I'm going to rotate it a bit. Rotating it shouldn't affect anything. The train will settle in the same spot. It'll just be twisted slightly, which doesn't really matter, hopefully. There should be one sitting on the ground over here. I'm aware that this is not powered. I just need to see if the auto arm could potentially reach it. I guess I do need it to be powered then, actually. Is this gonna reach? Yeah, it was wishful thinking. I need to get extenders. I'm so glad extenders are actually functional now. They don't just drain your power supply. I wonder if it's possible to pull the hidden cable plugs out of this. I'm not really sure. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, there's 2 cable plugs on these site pylons that are I almost guarantee it's a bug. But you can socket a wire into these things. If I can find a cable plug that's open still, let's try this one. There we go. So you can just literally, it's just they're at the origin underneath it. I don't know if you could pull a cable out of them or if the collision prevents you from doing that, but there are 2 plugs on these things. I'm almost certain it's a bug. I think they're invisible and they're part of the original like rail post that they probably copied the code from. That said, devs, do not remove those cable plugs. Make them visible instead. Like put them here, over by these weird looking yellow handles that should have been cable plugs. But for anyone who was frustrated by these damn site pylons not connecting to stuff, they have cable plugs. Now you know the forbidden technique of how to get power through these things. Speaking of power, I need to get one of these. I don't know, I have a bunch of these just sitting on the ground everywhere. We just need a single one. Let's put that back. Anything I put on the ground that's not anchored to a platform is liable to fall through the floor, like that Astronium there, so we'll see if that disappears at some point. I don't like how much dynamite is on the ground here any more than any other sane person, but there's not much I could do about it right now. I'd have to shuttle it all over to the dynamite silo, which is also not particularly safe, and probably should not be in the base, but when will I learn? Probably learn if I ever detonate it. I haven't had any incidents with explosives in the base, but this game does have explosives in it, and they will cascade and destroy your entire base if you do anything stupid with them, so it's something to keep in mind. So there was already materials on that because it had materials on it when I brought it over here from the old deposit. That looks like that can reach the whole train. I'm just going to put a random object on it just to see if it'll drop it off. Yep, alright, good. Yep, we got it. So the last thing I need to do then is put the storage sensor. And we should have automated graphite getting brought over to the base, and then I need another auto arm to put it in here. Do I have one sitting on the ground over here? Why are there fire particles coming out of everything in my base? Is this a warning? Is something terrible about to happen? This game, it just astonishes me. Every single thing that can emit fire is emitting. I wonder if that's why I'm fucking lagging, if all these emitters just like turned on for no reason. I wonder if I just have like thousands of particle emitters for every like portable smelter and every other thing in the world, just constantly spamming particles that I can't even see. And that's why I'm lagging, perhaps. Ugh. Astroneer, please. What is that, like 11 bugs now? We didn't end up needing this. Yeah, I think we'll switch to Deep Rock pretty soon here. And then I'll restart my computer before the next time I stream this game. Get the crust to hopefully go away. So anyways, what we were doing is looking for an auto arm. Unfortunately, I don't have one, but I do have this. I don't want to grab that. There we go. So let's go ahead and bring this over here. And what we need to do is add a storage sensor to the train. I'm just going to call the train over here. It's probably full by now. And slap a sensor onto it. There's our arms. And we should have like 1 or 2 more storage sensors left. Just enough to last the stream before I have to go print like 20 more of them. Alright, and we want to set it up like this. Filter graphite. I fully expect this sensor to just be somewhere in the void of space next time. Why is it not letting me... Game? Do I really have to fill this slot in before you'll let me put... No, it's a power sensor. I'm a dumbass. That's why that's not working. There we go. Okay, user error. This is what we wanted. And it doesn't really matter where you put them, but I like to have the indicator light facing up so I could see what setting it's on. It should be on full or empty. There we go. Alright, do that, and then it's waiting to become empty, which is perfect. That's what we want it to do. Thankfully, you can overlap these. I just need to make sure this can reach everything there. This is a temporary setup, so I'm not worried too much about how it's aligned. It just needs to work well enough. Speaking of working well enough, what in the world is this wire arrangement that I came up with here? This is disgusting. Who built this? Put that there. Put that there. That there. Okay, there we go. It's a little bit more organized. Alright, and turn it on. And then there's one more thing I'm going to go do here, which won't be applicable for a while now, but that is put the limiter on it so that I don't get more than I need. So that's what this is for. Need to grab a segment pin. So by convention, I've been slapping it down here. Camera, come on. And then I run it over here to whatever I need to connect it to, which in this case is going to be this arm. And we're going to turn this arm off when I don't need any graphite, is what that's going to do. You ready to bring a debuff? Alright, well, it still might be like 30 minutes, so don't like sit there and yell at me for like not doing it for another half an hour or something. It depends what I get sidetracked by, because we're not quite done here yet. Is the system jammed? Where's the train? Okay, I just saw that arm turn off, but that might have been a rendering artifact. Well, you'll notice it going on here, actually. This is working as corrected. This arm is turned off. And this arm is turned off because we're probably full on Astronium. So this train is stopped, and basically this train is not going to do anything until we run out of Astronium. You can see the canister over there is actually filled, which is actually not supposed to be. It was supposed to turn off before that canister got filled, but at the very least the system doesn't seem to be jammed. I'll come up with a reason to use Astronium if I notice that I have too much of it, but I need to make sure the system's actually not getting jammed. So let's see what's on the train. It's just about to show up. Here it comes. And it's full of crap that I don't want it to have. I'm going to have to do some maintenance here to figure out why I have a backlog, but it might just be because of the portable smelter problem, which I will fix off stream. For now, we're just going to put stuff on the floor and get it out of the way. Because what's going on here? Let's see if our portable smelter broke again. Oh my god, they're all turned on. I can't place materials on... Devs, what the fuck is this? Alright, that's 3 bricked portable smelters. Let's try this one. Well, that one works at least. I don't understand this game. Like, chat, I act like I know a lot about this game, and I do know a lot about this video game, but it still never fails to amaze me how dysfunctional this game is. So the system is once again backed up with laterite. The question is, why am I even mining laterite? Or maybe I'm not. Maybe it broke like the second I left it. Let's see, what is going on here? So this auto arm is not being powered. It has an AND gate powering it. I'm probably going to change that. But it's not being powered because we have too much aluminum, so it is turned off. So I think we're just going through residual aluminum is what's happening right now. Yeah, I got some work to do here to figure out what's going wrong. The base is slowly falling apart. The crust is kicking in. And it keeps filling the canister of ceramic. Yeah, I got a few things we're going to have to figure out, but... Well, not we're going to have to figure out. I'm going to figure that out. Most likely the reason why the ceramic canister is full of aluminum is because these are slightly misaligned And one of these auto arms, like the aluminum auto arm, is able to reach this canister, which it should. And I probably just need to move it back a bit, but I want to be more thorough about my testing. So I'll deal with that off stream. Anyways, what did we do here? We wanted to move the tungsten over as well. So I do have room for another one of these things that I could just like cram into this spot, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So do I have any site pylons sitting around, or did I use all the ones that are unpacked? Let's see, I got the one that was in here. I'm going to leave this down here. Actually, I might use it later when I set up the double train. I'm just looking for idle site pylons. I hate the fact that that's just spawning particles. I wonder if I should restart my game again. Or maybe rather restart the whole game and not just reload the save. Okay, we don't have any more deployed ones, so I'll go into the stockpile. And here's some I got earlier. Where are they? There we go, we have 4 of these. So the only reason I'm using these site pylons, I've explained this a little bit before, is because I don't want rails automatically connecting to stuff, and they basically serve as a rail terminus, so I don't have to worry about open-ended rails randomly joining things later on that I don't want them to. That's like the key reason why I care about this. Alright, how many medium platforms do I have? None, because I left the silo with them over there, but I'm running out of them anyways, so let me just go ahead and make a few more right now. We're not going to need too many of these. We're almost done with Astroneer here for the day, so I'll just set this to auto print a few more of these, just enough to get the tungsten set up, and then I think we'll probably switch to deep rock after that. I had a couple more things I wanted to do, but the base is developing a lot of problems. There's a lot of lag going on, and I think I should probably just take the L on Astroneer for today and figure out what's wrong off stream. Try to get the portable smelters to stop being garbage. So yeah, I think we will switch to deep rock right after this. Let's get the tungsten figured out. Alright, so we need that. Need an auto arm. I'm definitely running out of space over here. I will make an unloading station, I think 1 layer down for future materials. And I might move these ones as well. Alright, so we need to make sure we can grab everything off the train. Doesn't have to be super precise. That should be able to grab all the train and access most of the slots on this thing, which is all I really wanted it to be able to do. Can I get this? There we go. Just weasel that cable plug in there, get this one connected to that. Alright, that's the first half. And then I just need to run another rail up the wall here. And I'm just going to take the ones here. Originally, this is where I was unloading the wolframite, but we're not doing that anymore, so let's just set it up over here. And I think I did align all of this correctly, so I don't actually have to do any additional work once I've got this set up, because the rest of it's already done. How convenient. That's a good spot. I shouldn't carve any terrain. Put one like right there. That's honestly not a good spot, because that's where that auto arm outputs to. Maybe I'll move it back a little bit. Whatever, I've got a lot of cleanup I need to do anyways. And then the last one can go like right here. Don't carve, don't carve. Okay, good. Good, it didn't destroy my ramp. I wasn't sure if that was cutting it too close. Alright, I need to put a train on it. And we have like a couple more storage sensors. Not the power sensor, I don't want that one. That one. I think it's already set to full or empty. Okay, in theory, this should work. Let me go over and inspect it. I'm not sure if it turned on its own. I hate the fact that if you're moving horizontally, the jetpack basically just doesn't move you at all in the upward direction. Even when you're not moving horizontally, it basically doesn't move you. It's kind of horrible, honestly. It just occurred to me how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be to reset this auto extractor every now and then. Because I have to go up here to do that. I might make a platform to stand on. Alright, well there it goes. So we had a few in the backlog. Because that thing had just been sitting there, unconnected to anything for a long time with no train servicing it. But it still had power for a while because I was using it for something. Oh shit, we did actually carve some terrain. Hold on, I can fix that right now. Thank you, rail lines. Very cool. We definitely needed to carve this out. This was absolutely in the way of the rail somehow. There we go. Yep, just clip right through that. See if I care. Alright, and let's see if we got this hooked up, and then I think we'll be done for now. We'll switch to deep rock. So this is going to be turned on based on whether or not we need tungsten. So that is this one right here. Could change the logic to detect whether or not we have too much wolframite instead, but oh well. Actually, I wonder why I'm not smelting wolframite right now. I need to look into something. For now, though, let's just branch this off. Oh my god, camera, please. Stick that right, I don't know, right there. Just some visual consistency so I don't have to get confused about like what is connected to what item. I can organize these wires later if I need to. I almost certainly will. Alright, so we do that. This should be turned on right now because we do want wolframite. So the train's just going to wait until it has a spot to unload to. Which last I checked, the train is still moving through the system. Every single smelter is just emitting particles for some reason. Some extras over here I could drop off though, we don't need these. I forgot I even had these here. This one must have been partially smelting because I can't pull it off. Let me see if I can get this powered real quick. Just to get this one off of it. Whoa, now. There's the flip somebody asked for earlier. It wasn't me that did it. Okay, this one was actually still smelting this, so I'm going to go ahead and let that finish. Alright, meanwhile, I need to figure out why this is not doing anything, and then we'll be good to go. So what's supposed to be happening here is this arm should be turned on. You know, maybe I just never activated it because I didn't have a system that was providing it. So let's go see how this works. So these are bricked, which means I need to place this potentially. God, these fucking... This would be so cool if they actually tested this feature before they shipped it to production. The 3 portable smelters that never work. I cannot place items on them. I cannot use them anymore. Did I find the graphite? Yeah, I did. I ended up going for one on the surface. Specifically... Cool jetpack. Fun jetpack mechanics. Specifically this one over here. There was one on the caves, on the cliffside right here, and that's the one I'm using. So we got graphite coming from over there. This rail line goes to the space elevator. Which, you know what, I'll ride the space elevator to end off the stream, I think. Not end off the stream, but end off Astroneer. And then we're getting tungsten from here now. So we've got some spaghetti going on to get all the materials back to the base. Because I have a lot of work that I need to do here to get this functional. And make it reliable, I think is the more important part. Delicious spaghetti. Spaghetti 2.0. Maybe that'll be the name of this VOD. And we're just about to run out of snail fuel as well, so everything is lining up. Just some broken portable smelters. How's this going? So this... I think this is working. I need to get the train to come here. That'll turn on this arm, which should be able to drop off on the train if it was there. I think that's it then. I think we have automated wolframite, or tungsten rather. Fun fact, chat. Wolfram is like the Latin name for tungsten, and that is why it is W on the periodic table. Why didn't we just use the letters TU? I don't know. I think we're good then. Alright, let's go on a joyride on the space elevator. A nice low frame rate joyride, except actually I'm running at about 60 FPS right now, so... Whatever, I have a lot of cleanup to do after stream, so next time I stream might not be Astroneer. Depends whether or not I get that done. This is a mess. We got floating cubes. We got broken portable smelters. We got low frame rates. We got John Wolframite. A little bit of everything. Just crap all over the floor. Let's go ahead. Let's go have some fun. So we're gonna be switching to Astroneer here. Normally I would end the stream by doing this, but we're not switching to Astroneer. We're gonna switch to Deep Rock Galactic. Normally I'd end the stream after doing this, but here's a treat for anyone who sat through all that bullshit. This is the space elevator that I've been talking about for the whole stream, but haven't actually showed it off for a while. It is possible to build rails between planets, just not the way you normally would think. You don't build to the planet in space. Those are fake. I already explained this earlier. I had the diagram or whatever, but just take my word for it. Silva is directly above Calidor's North Pole, which is where we're going right now. And then we got this neat looking space elevator that I built, and it took like 6 hours to make this. I did build it on stream. I do have a VOD of it on my channel if you're very curious about it, or you can watch like a short clip of it, but you're about to see the clip anyways of me, right? Is that a fucking RTG? Hold up. That spawned in. That spawned in during one of the updates, and I didn't even know that it was here. That is broken that could even like happen. That it could just generate those. Devs, please. This game is too easy. Why did you put that in? Whatever, I don't actually care about that. I'm not using RTGs to power my base anyways. I'm intentionally only using solar panels because it made for a more interesting logistic challenge. I have mini RTGs powering the base, but large RTGs are only being used for rovers. That was, and Aatrox. Like, that was the rule that I came up with for myself to make things more interesting. But yeah, this is a space elevator running off the North Pole. Initially, you're able to build in this area. You can actually build really fucking high in this game. Like, way higher than you would really need to or even be capable of, because your jetpack stops working above the cloud layer, so it becomes incredibly difficult to move around or do anything. This was a tedious, arduous process, and it's a miracle I didn't die of fall damage while I was building it. But once you get to the build limit, oh my god, are you serious? Once you get to the build limit of the space elevator, that's where things get interesting, because I had to come up with a technique to actually build these in the void of space, and it more or less consisted of placing a tall platform in the void of space, saving and loading my game, and for some reason that specific platform type has collision that you can place rails on top of. Like, you can build rails on the pole of a tall platform. So that combination of things and like 60 saves and reloads allowed me to place these rail posts in interstellar space without any terrain to put them on. All the way from Calidor up to Silva, which will be coming into view in just a second. The reason why this is so jittery and dippy is because it was incredibly difficult to actually position these in a specific spot in space. Like, it's hard to describe how difficult it was to do this and get it as straight as I did. Like, at the very least, I ended up hitting the other end of the space elevator that I built from Silva's side, because that's where we're going right now. We're coming up under the south pole of Silva. So why did I build this? Mostly just to see if I could. I can theoretically automate the process of getting zinc from Silva by doing this. I don't know if I'm ever going to use the space elevator for that, because having multiple trains on these rails like this just causes problems, and it's incredibly difficult to build semaphores in this game. So that may or may not ever happen, but the space elevator was mostly built just to prove that it was possible, that I could do it, and that all the people on Reddit that keep saying you can't do it are wrong, which they are wrong. Take that, Reddit. Because here it is. Also, fun fact, the power system on the space elevator does in fact work on Silva. Silva is being powered by Calidor right now. I have a wind turbine and a few other tidbits on the surface of Silva, but this planet is receiving hundreds of units of power from Calidor through the rail system. Like, the only limitation to connecting the planets is the fact that the devs just didn't give us a way to do it, other than the jank that I discovered when I was building that space elevator up there, which that right there is where Calidor is. It's that blob of particles and wires. But you can do it. You could, in theory, connect every single planet with a space elevator and rail network if you were really feeling like wasting days of your life. Yep, this is what I thought. Every single one of these things, everything that has a fire particle emitter in this game is active right now. Oh, that was like 11 or 12 bugs, I think, that we found today just by happening to run across them. I am seriously considering making like a few like mini recordings and submitting them to the devs to see if they're proactive about this stuff. Because maybe they just don't know about these problems. Like, I really have no idea at this point. Some of them I can't reproduce, so I'm not going to bother them with those bugs, but reproducible shit, like the portable smelter just not working, that's been reported already. And then there's all sorts of other weird things, like particle emitters having solid collision. So, I don't know. We'll see if I decide to get off my ass and report the bugs instead of just complaining about them all the time.